was you.
No, it was Leva. Leva was the one set foot out there like coughing, and then Saturday night, ignoring me.
Don't say anything. It was her.
I still got it. I'm still getting over it. Yeah, she's got it.
Of course, this is just the discussion. Yeah, we may have to.
But yeah, anytime. I don't know.
I just wanted to make you aware. and our pledge. Commissioner Rodriguez, would you like to lead us?
Yes.
Okay. You didn't read the agenda.
Okay, let's just bow our heads. Thank you, Lord, for this wonderful day. Thank you, Lord, for everything that you provide for us, Lord. I ask that this afternoon, Lord, that you give us the knowledge and the wisdom to make decisions for the community of Lovington, Lord. All these things I pray in your holy name, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Oh, excuse me, wrong one. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I salute the flag of the state of New Mexico, the Zia symbol of perfect friendship among united cultures. You may be seated. You got a what?
Do 2 changes.
Okay.
I'd like to make a motion for approval of the agenda, but I need 2 changes. Remove discussion of the Harold Reynolds softball fields parking lot item, and remove resolution 2026-023 approved TPF design grant for fiscal year 27.
2023.
Softball, like,
And right up here.
parking lot, I'm sorry.
Parking lot.
We did it last.
That was actually one of my questions. 2023. Okay.
Got a second?
Not yet. Okay. Have a motion and a second for approval of the agenda with these items removed. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Shannon?
Commissioner White,
Yes.
Commissioner Rodriguez,
Yes.
Mayor Roberts,
Yes.
Commissioner Perry,
Yes.
Commissioner Ramon.
Yes.
Okay. Floor is open for motion for the approval of, approval of the minutes.
I'd like to make a motion for consideration of minutes of January 26th, 2026, sorry. Second.
Okay, motion second for the approval of minutes. Any additions, corrections, or further discussion? Hearing none. Shannon?
Commissioner Rodriguez,
Yes.
Commissioner Ramon,
Yes.
Mayor Roberts,
Yes.
Commissioner White,
Yes.
Commissioner Perry.
Yes.
Okay. Brings us to our Commissioner's staff report. Ms. Shannon, do you have anything to see?
Well, I'd like to just mention one thing before you leave tonight. The audit resolution
Needs to be
needs to be
signed.
signed by each one of the commissioners. So if you please do that before you leave. I'll have it out there.
Can't run out the door. All right, thank you. Chief Clark.
Yes, sir. Mayor, Commissioner, City Manager. Officers' activity for the month of January 2026 is incident responses was 1,236, self-initiated was 603. We had 164 citations, and I have a non-action item. That's all. Any other questions?
All right, any questions? See none. All right, thank you, Chief. Fire Chief.
Mr. Mayor, members of the commission, so we have received the paperwork for the second installment of the State Fire Fund, which we should receive by February 15th for $232,786. So that's the second distribution of it, and I have that here from the state. I want to acknowledge one of my EMS specialists, Elizabeth Burkett. So she's not here, they're out on a fire and she's teaching class. Elizabeth has been in the paramedic class for the last 19 months. And paramedic class it takes a lot. And that was in Roswell. They had to drive to Roswell 2 to 3 times a week, plus do all their clinicals and all that. So it takes a lot. And she passed her national registry and is now a national registered paramedic. So I just want everybody to know that she was done with that and how proud we are. We also had one of our intermediate students who passed and received his intermediate license. So we're slowly getting certified. I know people have been asking, so we did have a fire at Norley today at they called it the PCP building. It was during lunchtime. What it was some air conditioner units on top of the building. They were actually still in the box. We don't know how it started. The cause of ignition is unknown. I know the people were supposed to come to install them this week, which is, I guess, part of the manufacturers. So before we determine the actual cause, we're gonna have them look at their manufactured products and see if it was a failure in that, because the box does say they're extremely flammable, and the coolant that's in it is like antifreeze and propane.
It's primarily propane.
Primarily propane, so they are extremely,
Yeah.
and if one of them had a little leak, we don't know, any little spark could cause it. So I just wanted everybody to know about that. And then our numbers for January, total EMS was 223, interfacility transports 64, cancel refusal DOAs 36, airport transports were 19, Tatum calls 14, and then paramedicine patients seen were 10. And that's all I have at this time. I will stand for any questions.
All right, questions? Guess that's it. Thank you. Commissioner Rodriguez.
I have none.
You have nothing to say? Commissioner Ramon.
I would just like to say thank you to Robert Perez and the director at the youth center. I got to spend some time with them last week, and they're both running really good departments, and I appreciate their time and efforts. And if anyone in the community has small children, I highly encourage you to inquire about the youth center and their after-school activities.
Awesome. Well, thank you. Commissioner Pryor. All right. Commissioner Perry.
No.
Mr. Fierro.
Hello. I will defer, I guess I see I'm down here in non-action items. So
Okay.
I'll just did that.
We will allow you to proceed at that point. City manager.
Mr. Mayor, Commissioners, excuse me, I have nothing tonight, but I'd be happy to stand for any questions. Additionally, Mr. Bernardo of the Street Department had a quick update on our alley blading project.
You have nothing new but a cold, huh?
Courtesy of Santa Fe, I think a lot of us do.
Gotta stay away.
Mayor,
I love
Commissioners. My name is Bernardo Gutierrez. I'm the Street Department Director. And I was just coming over to give you an update on the footage of the alleys that we have covered. So far, I have 96,450 feet, which comes out to 17.88 miles. If you could please pass this one to Ms. And that's all I have.
Did you want to address the stop sign?
Oh, yes, another thing was, Mr. Miranda was asking me that we was concerned about the traffic flowing pretty fast on Second Street and Birch, and about us considering putting some, either a bump or something. But what I was telling him, that in my opinion, a stop sign, making it a three-way, would be a lot more better. So that way the traffic will have to stop at that intersection. Or I would say any other intersection that we having troubles or issues, I would say, take that into consideration, think about it, and see what you guys think. But like I said, to me, I would think a three-way, would do fine there.
I do have
In
You made me
regards,
think of it.
is it
Yeah,
in regards to him?
yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Well, everybody, but, okay, so what do we think about on Brian Erlacher in Maine, where the lawyer's office is, putting a no right turn sign? They mowed down the street sign that has the two street names, and every afternoon and every morning you can sit there and watch semis try to turn right, and they have to push over into the left lane traffic, oncoming traffic and all that. So if they want to go to Maverick, they could go ahead and go around the turn and turn in that second entrance, or they could go down McAllister. But it's just, if you'll go on the busy times, it's really bad with people trying to turn right there. And plus it just slows down the flow of traffic for people trying to cross.
Okay.
No
The
right.
trucks are going which direction?
They're going south,
South.
turning right to Brian Urlacher
Turning
at that
west.
triangle point.
Oh,
And they mowed down the
I
sign.
noticed.
I saw it, I noticed the sign was down, I did
So what
notice.
if we put a no right turn there? Cause it just completely messes up the whole flow for people trying to cross.
So force them to use McAllister.
Mhm.
Yes, or go down to the second entrance of Maverick.
They're also on that, excuse me,
Wait, wait,
Oh,
Oh,
wait.
hang on.
I just, no, I'm just gonna mention that they're on Ninth and Brenner, like there are cars also
You can't
in
not.
right-hand lane making a left. That's it.
What do you think, sir?
We can definitely give it a try and see what it does and see if it.
Any problem being a state highway?
Yeah, we would have to consult
Yeah,
with
we go
DOT.
to
Yes, sir,
there
I'm sorry, yeah.
Anything from Maine to where Arkansas Junction is,
Mhm.
that part of
That's-
Brian Urlacher is the
And we
state.
really need to repaint from where they stopped painting in front of Maverick towards Brian Urlacher because you can't see any of the left turn lanes or anything at night.
Okay.
Thank you,
All
sir.
right, if you'll just get Crystal
Yeah,
involved
permission or
and,
whatever. I think it's overflow and it's really bad when they try to go over into the left, the people going south, well, east.
shouldn't be that hard.
With the big trucks.
It's
Yeah.
one
the
lane
big
though,
trucks.
and they're
Yeah,
turning
it's the big
semis
trucks
like
that
that,
cause
so it
them.
makes everybody have to stop. that's
Maybe
trying-
a full-blown traffic signal would be in order. I know
We've
it's a
tried.
small town, we hate that sort of thing, but I
We've
mean,
tried and they won't put one, they've done a traffic
The state
study,
won't put one
they
there,
won't
we've
put
tried that
Yeah.
at
We can ask,
Urlacher in Maine before.
we can ask for a new traffic study, because the last one
Well,
we did was 4.
And have them do it during rush, like,
Yes,
Well,
at
they do
like
it over
3 and
48
5.
They do it over a long period. They
Between
don't-
7 and 8 and
But the
3.
last one was done 4 or 5 years ago, and obviously the traffic has picked up.
They did
since
one
then.
right with Brian, I mean, Maverick,
Yeah,
they did
they
one
did.
game
Maverick had to
a
do
year
one.
ago,
Yep,
and they denied us red
and
light then.
they did not need, they said
But
that
I
they're
think
not needing
right, a
that.
no right hand, they might do that.
All right, let's add that as an agenda item
Yeah.
for discussion for next meeting.
Okay. So over 17 miles of alleys have been bladed, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Pretty close to 18 miles, so, you know.
What's our total length? What did, we talked about it, but I've forgotten now.
It's on the,
Oh,
Oh, is it on here?
right here. 17.
No, that's what they've done.
Oh,
That's what they've done. What is our total length of alleys? Didn't we-
what I estimate is about 800 alleys, and so far, well, last month, whenever I gave the presentation, we had covered pretty close to 200. So we now moved up obviously the numbers.
Okay.
But, you know, we're continuing on, and hopefully, you know, we will.
Well, I haven't even ever measured all the alleys, there's a lot.
Oh, yeah,
Right.
it's, yeah. It's definitely a task.
Well, we appreciate it. I actually was down mine this morning or yesterday morning, and you've got mine, so
So,
in
Yeah.
your, I had
Yeah,
no
like I
idea
said,
when.
And eventually, you know, we will get every single one.
Okay.
With- Anything else?
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Anything further?
No, sir.
Okay, I didn't. I'm sorry.
One thing,
Okay.
was thinking of conducting the Chicken Town Hall event on February 17th. That's the Tuesday after President's Day. We could have it in here, it could be live streamed. We would get it out ahead of time in front of the public, so anyone who wanted to weigh in, it wouldn't be an official meeting of the commission, but
Right.
I could conduct it and I could give the feedback at the next meeting.
Would we rather do, I mean, we can do it in here, we're limited on space, would we
Troy
rather
Harris.
maybe set it up at Troy Harris with Holguin?
Yes,
Okay.
we have available, Albertsons is using the facility all this week, but it's available starting Monday.
Do you think that's enough time for public notice? A week? I'm good with it.
Could we put like a little survey in the water bills too? Cause there's a lot of people that miss things and don't get
Well, I
to
was thinking of doing also an online Facebook survey too, where we could get their opinions
People
in.
don't have Facebook. I don't know.
you said February the 17th?
Tentatively, I can make it later, but that's just the day I was looking at.
I mean, let's plan one, we'll see what attendance we have, if it's not good, maybe we'll try another. I know there's several people that for sure will be there.
Yes, sir, guaranteed.
Anything further?
No, sir.
All right, thank you, sir. Ms. Ball?
I have action items and
All right.
on different grants, we can talk about those later. Working on finishing up the Jackson Avenue grant. It was a $2 million grant. We spent 1.6, so we have a little over 5K left. The state did say I could extend the termini for sidewalks on that project, so if I want to come on down Jackson, and that's where I talked about going from 9th on down to 3rd behind those schools and get some ADA sidewalks behind those schools.
Okay.
There is an area in there where we don't have a right of way behind Becker curb between, on the south side of the road, between 7th and 8th. There's those few houses, you see how close they are up to everything right in that one block area. That's where, but we do have it on the other side, we would have it, it would just, that sidewalk would have to kind of go from one side to the other side.
So the curb is basically the property
in
line
that
on
area.
those.
I can
in
get
that
a
area.
survey to make sure, but it's looking like it is.
Those are some of the older homes of Lovington. I can see that it would be.
And there was some surveys done for an alley issue I have between Madison and Taylor, or Monroe and Taylor, and I'll be bringing that to you guys probably in the next meeting or so.
We might consult with we might just ask those property
With the
owners
owners.
if they would like sidewalks, and if they do,
If they-
Bless you.
Yep, I could send them a letter and see if they would be willing to park with 5 foot of their property for a sidewalk.
All right. and then go
Definitely
up the
ask
street and say, oh, I like it, or no, I don't want the hassle, so.
Yeah.
Okay, sounds good.
All right,
Thank you.
and that's all I have.
Any questions? Sorry, I didn't ask for, all right, seeing none. Counselor?
Mayor and Commissioners, I don't have anything new to report at the meeting. May have, I'm sure we'll have a few comments on the public hearing and I think resolution 2026-13. But I'd be happy to stand for any questions if there are any.
Okay. Thank you. Questions? Hearing none, we're moving on.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, brings us to our public comment time. If you, I'm sorry? Oh. If it's not enough, we'll get you some more. Sorry. Anyway, sorry, this brings us to our public comment time. This is our second meeting. In case you're new, whatever, we do require you to sign up if you have comment on, we started out with public comment on non-action items. It tended to get a little out of hand last time, so we're probably gonna actually get a sign up for any public comment on anything, whether it's items of the agenda or if it's public or non-action, non-agenda items, I'm sorry. But anyway, got a little bit of, I guess, latitude here. In case you didn't know that, please come up with public comment, announce your name. We're gonna give you 3 minutes. We're gonna start imposing that a little closer, and just tell us what you want to hear. Anyway, this enters our public comment time, and anyone that would like to address the commission, please come to the podium. Okay. Mr. Johnson's going to take the first stand.
Mr. Mayor, Commissioners, Mr. City Manager, I came in here today with what I thought was going to be bad news over the pavilion of the park.
Oh.
The bad news turned into better news this afternoon. I was getting ready to fire my engineer who's doing the electrical drawing for the pavilion. I tried to contact him. I talked to you, what, a week and a half ago?
Yes, sir.
Right in there. That was the last time I had a conversation with him, and I've tried to get back with him 3 different times. He did not return my calls or emails, so I was coming in here today to let all you know that I was gonna fire him and find somebody else. The original engineer that I've used the last 20+ years retired at the end of 2024. So I'm trying to fill the waters and find me a new engineer. I'm not real impressed with what I've ran into so far, but things are moving forward now. He told me he would have everything to the state by the end of today's business day. So I just wanted everybody, I've got you all right here in front of me. I've got heat coming all the way from the state level down to the city level on my back, so. I've got you all right here together.
Did it happen? Did he send it? It's 5.
You know, I don't know. If he did, he didn't CC me.
Do we anticipate,
Well, when I talked to you the other day, I told you 2 weeks. That was a week and a half ago.
well, I was gonna,
The 2 weeks is gonna start over.
yeah, it was more the state electrical inspector. We need to have some say on with him too.
Oh, absolutely. He can ruin our day.
So you're still waiting on the plans to go to the,
Yeah, so there's been a lot of, well, I can't say a lot, but there's been some back and forth with the state, and it all goes back to the EV chargers,
yes.
which is all new. I mean, this is the first commercial EV install that I myself have done. I'd like to say it would be the last, but I know it won't be.
It will not be, yeah.
No. We've even got to put them in our building over here that we're building, believe it or not, which is ridiculous.
And there may be 2 in town, I'm not sure. Not chargers, vehicles, yeah, maybe.
Well, we're an oil and gas service company out there, and we have to put them in. We'll never have electric contracting, electric utilized trucks.
I understand.
But in case y'all ever want to come see us and you drive a Tesla, you can charge while you're in there talking to them.
We'll come and hook
You
up to your
probably
electric.
have it.
There will be
You
a charge.
probably won't have it grounded or
There
something
will be a
where it
charge.
There will be a
explodes
charge.
in the parking lot.
It won't be for free.
Okay.
For the Tesla, right?
Right.
But if you have any questions on that, here I am. You can fire away.
It sounds to me, my opinion, that you've got it handled, so I appreciate it.
You know, I thought that 2 months ago, Robbie.
I totally understand, sir.
Yeah.
I deal with them
But, you know,
myself.
it's out of my hands. I don't do well with non-communication, which is why I was coming in here to tell you guys that as of tomorrow morning, he is no
We're
longer on
firing
this
him,
project.
yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
But he saved his job this afternoon
All
by
right.
sending me an email. We had some back and forth today, so
Awesome.
I think I'm satisfied again,
For right now.
for now.
Maybe.
All right, well, thank you.
Any questions on that?
Questions, Commissioner?
Okay, one more thing.
Okay?
Chuck Johnson, partner in Caprock Tubular Service. We got the property annexed in, I believe, in the last meeting, maybe the meeting before.
Was advertised to end.
We,
Okay, so it's not annexed in.
Not yet.
Okay.
Just advertising too.
Rough idea on
Next
timeframe?
meeting, February,
Okay.
the next meeting,
Right.
the last one in February.
February 23rd.
Yep.
Okay, now I need some advice, and it may be more of a question for Crystal, but again, I've got every one of you in front of me, so, and I know you don't have much going on tonight.
Not a thing.
Once we get annexed in, what are the next steps to get the streets vacated?
I can go over that.
I know
with you
Patrick
later.
had mentioned about a quiet title.
Mhm.
Is that still?
That's still an option. What you'd have to look at would be the number of lots that you own, the other lots that aren't in your possession, and so it may not come as like a one big package of getting rid of, vacating all of the streets. There may be, let's say, 6 out of 10 you can vacate, but there may be 4 that you need to keep access to those lots until you're able to purchase those lots, and so we can start that process on there.
Okay, is that
It's
something that we
relatively
need to
street-
get with you on privately, or is that something we do through the city as
Well,
well?
I couldn't do it privately and also be here with the city because it presents a conflict of interest, but I
So the
think
city would get to foot the bill?
maybe, I don't know, we'll see. I think getting with Crystal to come up with a plan, because we vacate streets, we get a request, and what happens is the property owner, let's say if it's an easement and it runs east and west, we generally vacate that easement, half of it to the north owning property, half to the south. If you're north and south, it's pretty straightforward, so. But we could go through that process of ones that don't still require access to those lots.
Yeah, because we can't take away the access to any of those lots. Legally, we can't take that access until you own them.
All right, that answers my questions. Thank y'all very much. Do you have anything else for me?
We're good.
Okay.
Thanks, sir.
Y'all have a good evening.
Anyone else? Oh, come ahead.
Hi, my name is Christina Soga. My husband, which is right behind me, is in a wheelchair, and anytime we access a lot of places here in the community, we struggle with handicap parking. Like tonight, I had to park here, but I used both handicap parkings because there's not an allotted stripe zone, so we can drop our ramp so he could be able to get off. And I do appreciate all the new handicap ramps that are going out throughout the community. However, there's no handicap parking, like Main. Where do you park if you wanna enjoy something down Main? There's no parking, there's the ramps, but there's no parking allotted for that. So it makes it kind of difficult for us. And the second thing is, I understand throughout the community, there's gonna be the speed bumps that somebody had mentioned. A handicap vehicle only has 6-inch clearance, so if the speed bumps are too high, we damage all the carriage underneath. So speed bumps are great, but you know, in consideration to people that own handicap vehicles, it's just very costly for us, which the vans themselves are costly in the first place. So just imagine a van, multiply it by 2, and that's what a handicap van costs. So the parts for these vehicles are very costly. So I'm just trying to figure out, yes, we appreciate all the handicap ADA going around. However, we struggle in numerous places. Either the stripes are not there, like she said, different places that we go to, there's no stripes. You can't even see the handicap parking anymore. It's so faded. It's just around different parts of the community. So that's kind of what I was here, as we use a lot of the places here in the community, we struggle.
Mr. Mayor, may I address the citizen?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Just so you know, the highest speed bump we have is only 4 inches, and that brings the vehicle down to 5 miles an hour. And generally, there would be 2 inches, so none of them would be 6 inches. Just so
Okay. Thank you.
Any other
And
questions?
you're gonna get the state for Main Street?
So the state does not do handicap parking along their
Right.
main street because they don't own facilities to access. So it is up to the property owners to make handicap accesses to their properties. The one we have downtown would be by the courthouse on the south side, or to the new judicial system, there's handicap parking in there. And that's why all those ramps connect those downtown businesses, because most of those downtown businesses don't have their own personal property for parking. They only have the state right of way. And we can't put one out in their right of way. So we would have to create handicap parking on additional side streets and then bring the ramps to that area is what we'd have to do.
Which would be fine, but I'm not elderly, but if I was elderly, handicapped, to park all the way back here and walk to Cornerstone when you're parking at the courthouse on the side, I mean, there's a lot of people that can't walk that distance. So
So
I
our
mean,
thing would be to put one like around on the Central or something.
right, around the corner or something, Washington Central, or just somewhere, but also allow the ramps, the stripes for these ramps that our ramps, I believe, is 8 foot because we need that, incline. And so we need to make sure not only if there's handicap parking, but we also for disabled people, if not, like I told Mr. Clark, I get a ticket because I'm parked sideways. But what do? They need to be, as individuals in the community, you know, ADA states that you need to be able to access anything a non-disabled person should be able to access. And that's why, for me, it's very important that we accommodate just the parking plus the parking with the stripes, if possible. I mean, that would really help.
Well, we appreciate it. A lot of times, and please understand, the ones that are knowledgeable in this, like yourself today, coming forward and kind of give us an idea of where we're failing is very helpful, because don't take it wrong, we typically just don't think about it, and we don't recognize the lacking of adequate, not only parking, but like van access and that type of parking. We don't think about it. So it's important that you come and voice this so that we can then look at it and go from there. So we do appreciate you coming and bringing this to our attention.
Yes, thank you. Like I said, he's only been in the chair going on 9 years, so we've had to learn, and we didn't know this. We were just like y'all. We didn't know. And when you get in a situation, you're like, oh, can't park there. Oh, you know, there's a lot of issues. I mean, it's not just handicap parking, bathrooms. I mean, the little buttons to hold these heavy doors. You know, handicap equipment in general is twice as much as something that we get regularly, and I don't know why it's like that, because when you're handicapped, you're just on a stricter budget. So it's very important that anything that could be done to be able to access, and I know this might not be for y'all, but are y'all responsible for the parking lot in front of the high school, or is that the school district?
That's the school district.
Okay. So if they needed to they have curbs, so our van cannot go up the curb, and we have our son that goes to school here. And so they would have to make permits through the city to be able to make those adjustments, correct?
The curb cuts.
Okay. Just so I can get with him.
Yeah. The curb cuts are very easy to obtain.
Okay.
All right. Well, thank you very,
Thank
very
you.
much. Anyone else? I see no one jumping up. All right, we're moving on. Brings us to our non-action items. First item is Lovington Police Department statistics for 2025. Chief.
Today we're going to share our 2024-2025 public safety data and transparency, where we're made progress and where we continue to focus on our needs. And important notes are during the 2025 department operated at reducing staff level, which contributed to the decrease of traffic stops, citations, and arrests. Despite these staffing challenges, officers continue to respond to the calls of service, focus on their priority incidents and affecting public safety. The first topic, we look at the chart, is going to be property crimes. Residential burglaries has dropped more than 66%. Commercial properties within the city declined almost 69%. Showing significant improvement on property crimes and the reduction. Breaking and entering and criminal damage to property also decreased. Traffic enforcement with traffic accidents, stops, citations, arrests, all declined in 2025. And these reductions reflected in both staffing limitations and more targeting data-driven enforcement approaching focused on high-risk behavior. And the violent and domestic related incidents, we did see increases in domestic incidences, battery, aggravated assaults, and harassment cases. These trends reinforce the importance of prevention, victim services, and early intervention, particularly in domestic and interpersonal violent cases. On sexual assaults offenses, the criminal sexual penetration cases remained unchanged, while criminal sexual contact cases decreased by more than 31%. Even while operating short staffing, the department remained committed to transparency, accountability, and work with the community to address crimes, trends, and keeping Lovington safe. You can see the second slide. And you can see on the left side, the short staffing for the lowers traffic stop citations and arrests, and then everything else kind of just maintains from year to year. And the other slide. And then you can see basically what I just said, where the harassment, domestic was up, and other ones, criminal sexual contacts was down, child abuse and batteries were up, and assaults were down, aggravated batteries and aggravated assaults were up. The property crimes were down significantly. And overall, I think we're maintaining with the short staffing.
Do you have an opinion on the property crimes? I mean, have we changed anything? This is in your opinion. I know I'm putting you on the but just so that people kind of have an idea.
Property crimes are reactive in most instances, so we don't, unless somebody wants us to do welfare checks or check a property because they're going to be out of town or something like that, we're being reactive, and we only are getting called when after a crime has been committed. Now, I'd suggest all homeowners to purchase good quality cameras. The alarm systems are good, but cameras are even better because just like the street yard when they got burglarized, it was last year. I mean, the guy that burglarized looked right up at the camera. So we found some of the stuff right outside the street yard where he was gonna come back and get it, so we was able to recover some stuff. But good quality cameras are invaluable.
Chief, wouldn't you say that these stats kind of mirror the national trends? Because I think nationally homicide's down like over 20%, so it's not just that your department's not doing stuff, it's like crime in general, in most categories in the country, is down significantly.
It is, I mean, I've noticed in bigger cities, I thought maybe because of the Border Patrol and ICE and everybody doing their thing in the bigger cities, and they're getting all the bad people out of town, but it seems like overall, everybody that I've talked to, their crime has been down. But when you're a victim, it doesn't change.
No. I think it's good news.
Any other questions?
Questions?
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. All right, brings us to our next discussion item, presentation by Ms. Williams from Senator Heinrich's office.
Actually, it's Senator Lujan's office, but.
Oh,
the bigger
I'm
agenda
sorry,
was-
I'm reading it right off here.
Yeah, you're good, no worries. So hi, everybody, Mayor Roberts, Commissioners, Police Chief, and City Administration, and the public in general. My name's Constance Williams, and I'm a licensed clinical social worker, and I work for Senator Ben Ray Lujan in the Portales office. And so I wanted to come today to do a constituent services presentation. City Manager Madrid had said that y'all have a couple of new commissioners, and so congratulations on your election. As a caseworker for Senator Lujan's office, I do field work and casework, and so my field work is coming out and talking with local governments, organizations, and so just talk a little bit about Senator Lujan. If you're not familiar with him, he is from northern New Mexico. He had started out on the congressional side as a House member, and I came to start with him in 2020, so right before, 3 weeks before the COVID pandemic happened. And so that was a very interesting exchange and time, but, you know, he got elected into the Senate, and so I came on to the Senate side. You go ahead. So wanted to kind of talk with y'all. A lot of people don't know how congressional offices can directly help them. And so wanted to kind of talk about what we do, help with the federal agency, policy and legislative correspondence, grant searches, letters of support, and academy nominations. You can go ahead and go to the next one. So from the casework side, as a clinical social worker, I really enjoy working for Senator Lujan because a lot of people don't know that Congress has the option to do casework or not to do casework. So not all representatives do that. On the House side, Senator Lujan did maintain the highest caseload of all representatives across the nation. Good or bad, you kind of think about, hey, whether or not the federal government's working like it really needs to. And so I think that it's good to have a congressional representative who's willing to address the range of different things that can happen in the federal space. And so whether or not it's going to be dealing with Social Security, Veterans Administration, Medicare, which are some of the basic common things that we deal with, and that people will kind of get snagged on. There's also different things that we can do, whether or not it's dealing with agencies specifically, whether or not it's going to be dealing with passports. That's one of the fastest casework things that we have. People realize that they're getting ready to head out of the country and their stuff is expired, and so we try to streamline. And sometimes we've had success where I had a case last year where they were heading out to Paris, and the people, the constituents, were actually in Chicago, and we were able to engage with Chicago's field office and get them situated and on their way to Paris. So if you ever have those type of issues, please reach out to us. Like I said, there's a range of different ways we can help. You can go to the next one. So the congressional districts, you had mentioned Senator Heiner's office. He's one of the senators, Senator Lujan, and they are for the whole state. And then you have your representatives, your House representatives, whether or not it's going to be Teresa Leger Fernandez, Melanie Stansberry, or Gabe Vasquez. And I bring this up because we'll kind of talk about congressionally directed spending in the next one. But we're all part of the congressional delegation. What's cool about the delegation, and the position's empty right now because we had some switches up, but they have a grants specific coordinator that the delegation all puts together. They essentially have one person who kind of helps engage with all of the offices when it comes to grants for the state of New Mexico for constituents dealing with the federal government. So that's different because some offices may have a grants person, they may not have a grants person, and support letters, things of that nature that can really help local government on the federal side. You know, like I said, we do that as an organization. There'll be times where something may be, you'll approach our office and then they'll talk about it as a delegation and try to do a delegation letter. It really just kind of depends on what your specific projects are. But CRS reports, I wanted to make sure that people know CRS stands for Congressional Research Services. They are specific to Congress, but there's a lot of public information out there, and they have lots of different reports, and it's a range of different nonpartisan information. And so if you're ever interested in, you know, a lot of times people talk about the time change and all that and why, the history and all that different stuff. There's lots of different reports on CRS, and so just as a point of reference to try to learn more, CRS is one space that you can go to. So when we talk about casework, like I said, there's a huge range of different things that we can do to help. And so what we need from constituents is a signed privacy release and a letter describing the concern, and whatever additional documentation you have. Sometimes people are in such a distress mode when they reach out to our office. For instance, like taxes right now. I have a lady who's reached out and I'm like, hey, I need this release form, because in order for our office to actually do anything, we need the permission from the constituent, and we need that description of what the constituent is saying, specifically when it comes to like IRS and stuff of that nature, because those agencies, they're only going to get into what you say that you need, and we don't want to do more or less, but we really need that directive from constituents. And when it comes to taxes, you know, like this particular person has multiple years, you know, maybe had to do amended things of that nature, And I was like, hey, we need to at least get the years that you're dealing with so that we can get with taxpayer advocates and try to get them on that. People, when you're dealing with stress, when you're dealing with federal government, any type of stress, like I said, it's a stressor that can kind of impede your ability to move forward in life, whether or not it's Social Security, Medicaid. I was talking with a lady earlier, when you're in, and this can apply to not just your roles as commissioners, but in general. If you know somebody who has veterans issues and they can't get a hold of a BSO here, reach out to our office. There's different ways that we will work and try to help people. And what I really do like about Senator Lujan is instead of him saying like, well, why would we help in these spaces? He really says, hey, why not? The only thing we don't do is legal stuff. And that's because of the separations of power. And so just keep that in mind. Again, the privacy considerations, the reason that we have all that stuff, sometimes we may need a HIPAA completion from y'all because of like Medicaid or Medicare issues that deals with health. So power of attorney, guardianship, those are times we will need that documentation because essentially like maybe a payee is representing somebody and they are registered with Social Security. And so we need to have that information to show, hey, this person is advocating on behalf of that person, not just, you know, hey. So casework outcomes, love a good casework outcome. Sometimes it's really, really great. Sometimes it's like, oh my goodness, you know, people are like mad that they reached out, right? It can be a range of different things. I can't say everything is just roses and Cheerios, but you know, the one that's right here with Clovis, what I really like about this, and this happened during the pandemic, he was really flabbergasted that our office would help because he was a Republican. I was like, man, that's just basic. Like, you know, from a public office, we like, as a social worker, I want people to know that it does not matter about political affiliation whatsoever. And if you ever get, you know, even the instance, you know, let us know because we help people regardless of political affiliation. And so it made me feel good because he really felt that whenever he reached out and we were able to help get his stuff situated. The other one with Richard, that was a taxpayer advocate issue also during the pandemic. And like I said, sometimes it happens fast and sometimes it's slow. So we can go to the next one. So I was talking with the city manager earlier. If you don't know about the Federal Register, please look at it. That is basically the journal for the federal government. Anything that's happening with the federal government, they are required by law to put that out there. And so if you are interested in whatever it may be, go to the Federal Register, look and see if there's any public comments on it, if there's anything that's kind of happening in those spaces. I always put a Google alert. As a clinical social worker, I deal with the behavioral health side of stuff within our office, and so I'll do Google alerts, different things. Some stuff will pop up on the Federal Register wanting public comment about different things, and I'm like, hey, making sure I let people know, and just like I said, for my own knowledge of different things. So there's a good resource for y'all. Next thing. That's just kind of what it looks like on the Federal Register, breaks it down, all that good stuff. Next one. Congressionally directed spending. So I got briefed on this earlier. Wanted to let y'all know that I will be working on an email to send out to y'all about congressionally directed spending. That it is going to be opened up this year. April 15th is the deadline for projects to get submitted to our office. And basically what congressionally directed spending is it's an opportunity for members of Congress to bring money directly to their districts from Congress. And so a lot of the process, whenever we talk about funds and funding through the federal government, is either through grants or it's going to be through the competitive, and there's the grant process, competitive grant process, and then the appropriations. So congressionally directed spending essentially it doesn't bypass, it just streamlines, but you still will have to ultimately apply for whatever agency application that is. So for instance, there's the appropriations committees. We have 12 different appropriations committees, all in different spaces. Health and Human Services is gonna be medical type stuff. Interior is gonna be parks, things of that nature. The police department is gonna be the Department of Justice. There's just a whole range of the different wheelhouses, I guess you'll say, that they're in. But what happens is what we do is we get the requests from local governments, from nonprofit, it can't be a for-profit entity, but local governments, nonprofits, and say, hey, this is the project that we're wanting to do. And so they'll submit and provide through that. And then ultimately, the committees themselves are the ones that will say, yes, this is something that we'll fund, or no, we won't. Within those agencies, they have different, accounts, I guess you would say. So like Department of Interior is gonna have certain things when it's gonna come into water projects, or so it's not like every single available fund is going to be available through this congressionally directed spending process. So it is kind of piecemealing different things. What I would suggest is that, y'all saw the congressional delegation list earlier of who's on there. Go to their websites. You can go to Senator Lujan's website and see what projects have been awarded over the last couple of years, and that'll kind of give you some ideas of what we could do, can't do. Well, no, it won't be can't, but you know, what we could do. And so like, for instance, community centers, different things of that nature. I think Carlsbad just recently got awarded their police department some stuff with their building and trying to rehab their building and stuff. So there's a lot of different things that you can do, and it's just a matter of doing it and asking. And then, like I said, each member, it really comes down to congressional, and then at the end, Congress being able to agree at the end of the year on, you know, these bills and things of that nature. So there's been a couple of hamstrings since I've been here on it not coming through because of gridlock in Congress, but hopefully this year it won't be like that. Don't know. You can go to the next one. So you can stay in touch, all the social media platforms, I guess you say. You can go to the next one. All the office locations, a lot of people don't know that we have a Senate office in Portales. We're opening up one in Farmington that's coming online. We actually took over Senator Udall's office, and it's pretty heavy lift to bring Senate offices online. I didn't realize that, so you can go to the next one. My email is there. I also have cards, and at any capacity, like I said, whether or not it's going to be the city of Lovington as a whole, departments within the city of Lovington, or nonprofits, you know, if you're interested in trying to do some certain projects, let me know. Like I said, April 15th is what the deadline is for our office. But each office, each congressional delegation office has an option. So whether or not you're going to go to our office and Senator Heinrich's office and Teresa's office, you know, those are all options to try and get streamlined funds. The last thing I'll say on it is, if it's a $4 million project, it's probably not going to be able to get funded through congressionally directed spending. If it's less than that, if it's $1 million project, something, you know, in those spaces, it's more tangible, because ultimately it's multiple local governments, multiple organizations going after the same dollars. So if you have any questions, I stand for them, but I'll definitely be sending that information to City Manager Madrid and Mrs. Bolt.
Questions? I would just like to say thank you for coming down. This is the first time in the 4 years I've been here that we've had a senator.
Yeah. Well, I was in the county. I went to the Lee County, but I met you previously, and I was trying to think. I'm like, in my brain, I was like, where?
I was thinking it was her, but I guess not.
I would just add that Ms. Williams met with Leslie Bolt for a good 90 minutes today to go over all this stuff. So.
Awesome.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
If y'all need anything, please let me know.
All right. Thanks.
Thank you. Card for this over.
Yes.
You want one of these?
She didn't address the All right. Brings us to our next item, presentation by Enriched Communities.
Mr. Mayor, Commissioners, I just add that we're going to bring in by Zoom Mr. Harry Relkin, who's been retained by the city to advise on this project through his firm Sage Land Solutions. And I call Mr. Colin Cooper.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Mayor, City Manager, councilors, new councilors. It's a privilege to be back in front of City Council again. My name is Colin Kruger. I'm with Enriched Communities. I'm here with Elvin Rearheads, as one of our associates with our firm. We've been working with the City of Lovington since, I don't know, the end of 2024 with EDC and Evelyn's group working on a workforce housing project in the west end of town. You know, it's been a long road, but it's very encouraging to see the growth of Lovington and all the new employers coming in. Albertson's deal is really incredible to see that, all the new retailers coming in. And we're hopeful that, you know, the project that we provide is really a practical response to that imbalance in the housing that, you know, will address the workforce that Lovington really needs. We're proposing, you know, a minimum of 150 units. You know, for basically families, working families, with children looking for essentially stability and a place to put down roots. And, you know, in Lovington, while jobs have grown, especially housing in family units has really not kept pace. So there's a huge need for that in today's market. You know, without having that, there's a lot of overcrowding and long commutes and people leaving the community. So we feel that, you know, this type of workforce housing community really will reinforce the stability in the community. The project's really designed for kind of what we call the missing middle, which is really essentially working families who earn, you know, they earn too much for deep subsidy programs like Section 8, but are priced out of limited market rate options. So we're really targeting, you know, workforce, teachers, nurses, city staff, trades, energy support workers. And the project's really designed as a range of financing, private and public financing methodologies, and will provide a range of rentals. You know, for example, we'll have, you know, 70% will be 2 and 3 bedroom units. And in the 2-bedroom category, as an example, we would have rents that would range like $550 on the low end to, let's say, $1,100 on the higher end. So you're really targeting a range of incomes in the community. And this is, you know, everybody has to be income qualified. They have to have jobs to qualify for these types of programs. We're proposing to work with Monarch on the management side. They're the largest affordable and workforce housing management company in the state of New Mexico. So they're really professionally managed type of products. And this is really meant to be a community asset for the long term. And as developers on these types of projects, we really have to, we're forced to, you know, act as affordable stewards for a minimum of 15 years. So we're vested as well as the community in these types of projects. Like I said earlier, we're proposing 70% of units for 2 and 3 bedrooms, and ultimately the project will support about 400 people in this community. As I said, everybody needs to be employed. It's the project designed to serve people who work in Lovington and Lee County. Our team is experienced. We've done deals with a number of cities in New Mexico. We're currently under construction with the city of Ruidoso with a 72-unit project. And I would encourage city councilors to reach out to their counterparts in Ruidoso and get a sense of how it was working with our company and the experience that we've had, that they've had with us. We are a New Mexico-based business. And we have a very good entrenched building department. I think we're very competitive on our pricing, and we're really good at bringing projects in on budget and on time. So currently we're looking at you know, putting this capital stack together with a mix of public financing, tax credit equity, typical conventional type of financing, and a mix of other gap financing grants and that. So we are talking to a number of other parties to help us facilitate those grants. Bless you. The next, so we, as part of this process, we replied to an RFP that was put out by the city, and we were successful in winning that award or opportunity, and we feel happy to have the ability to do that. The next steps, as far as we're concerned, are, you know, filling out our capital stack and working on various documents with the city and Harry Ralkin and Sage Land Solutions, get our agreements in order, and then file for a state application. Once we do that, I think that we could be in a position to break ground probably in the fourth quarter of this year. And it will probably be an 18-month construction period. So I'm here to answer some questions, if you all had any.
Okay. You're addressing several new commissioners, so this is their first, pretty much their first exposure to it. So I'm going to ask a question which may help a little bit. I understand. We read the RFP. We understand. I guess when will there be like a detailed business plan for this area? I mean, for that particular spot of land that's truly detailed. You know, it'll specify different areas that will be, or if the whole complex is going to be a mix, or if it's, I don't know. I mean, I feel like that's an item that has not been presented in its entirety.
Okay. No, fair comment. So we have done some preliminary site planning.
Okay.
It's a 15-acre site, of which 5 acres would need to be retained as water retention. So we're working with approximately 10 usable acres. We're proposing a fairly low density project. Looks like 5 buildings plus a clubhouse, which would incorporate probably somewhere between 4,000 and 5,000 square feet. And what's mandated by the state of New Mexico is that we will provide resident services for the residents. That would include things like nutrition classes, after-school programs for the kids, that type of thing, medical services. We might even provide adult education, that type of thing. So those services will be flushed out during the application phase. As far as there'll be quite a bit of engineering that will need to be done in terms of formalizing the final site plan because of some of these hydrology issues that are probably going to come up. So we have a good idea of what we want to do, but the ultimate site plan and uses will probably change once we get into the engineering. So the other thing we will provide is, things like amenities like age-appropriate playgrounds, play areas that are secured, and I think the entire site, based on looking at today, will be a secured site, so that kids will have a safety of being able to run around. And we do, talking about cameras earlier, I heard some of that. We do, place cameras around all these buildings so that there is security. It is a process, no question. Going to the state will have comments, but essentially I think we could wrap that cycle up by mid-year. It would be my guess to get that. And the structure that we're proposing would probably require that we do the construction drawings approved through CID in Las Cruces. And then, the last project we did there, they approved plans in approximately 2 weeks. So we think that we can get this thing facilitated pretty quick. So, it's a business that we do consistently, and we're very effective at it, we think. So, any other questions?
Commissioner White, go ahead.
Can you explain to us that what you're really needing is a long-term lease of property that you have no intention to buy, where you're building and all that?
Yeah.
Because they don't know about that.
Okay. Typically, these deals, when we work with jurisdictions like yourself, like we do with Rio Doso, we entered into a long-term ground lease, typically a 99-year ground lease, which is paid on a residual cash flow after debt service. And it works well for a number of reasons for us, because obviously we don't have to lay out the initial capital for the land. But I think as the city's concerned, when they look at what they would get as a market price for the land versus, a lease for a number of years, it ends up being a much better economic decision for the city. They end up, receiving, and then ultimately they are, the ground lessor, so, at the end of that lease, they end up owning the real estate.
Just 2 questions. What's the budget, the overall budget number on the project up to?
Right now, we're looking at for approximately a minimum of 150 units, would be about $40 million investment in the city of Lovington.
And I didn't know if Mr. Relkin had any comments or questions. I think Tony, is he on Zoom?
Yeah, so Harry Relkin is, he's a land use lawyer out of Albuquerque. And we actually worked with Harry on I think it was 250 unit project just south of the airport. So we've had good dealings with Harry in the past. He's a great guy. So I think we're fortunate that he's working with the city of Lovington on this deal.
So you said 40 million for 150 units?
Yeah, it's about 260,000 a unit, something like that. Yeah, 250.
Where they are looking at property wise?
Yeah, about much.
Picture's worth 1,000.
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
And pardon me if I missed it in your presentation, I don't think so. But to qualify for this, residents must be employed.
Yes.
So retirees would be ineligible?
That's a good question.
Or is it considered you have to have an income?
Income, yeah, to income qualify. So if they had, a fixed income, that would qualify them. So it'd probably be depending on their retirement income, that would be their qualification. But as I said, we would have, I think I have a range here. Just to give you an example, on a 1-bedroom, we could go as low as $460 for a 1-bedroom.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. And on the high side, that would be $1,000, just to give you the range.
Depending on income.
Yes, yeah. We would average 60% of the average median income in this local jurisdiction.
And you have to keep that, was it 10 years, 15 years?
15 years.
15 years.
Yeah. We typically would also commit the real estate to go for long-term affordability up to 50 years. So these technically would remain a workforce housing affordable project for that period of time. And that's usually governed by a land use restricted agreement.
Mr. Relkin has no questions or comments.
Oh, okay, I didn't know if we were able to.
I'm fine, Mr. Mayor, Commission. Would like to just say we have Mr. Brad Hill here that's part of SAGE. It's a long background in affordable housing, and as Mr. Collins mentioned, I've had the pleasure of working with him on other affordable housing projects, and I think the city of Lovington was wise in choosing them, and we look forward to working with them to hopefully make sure we have a great project for the city of Lovington.
To answer your question, Mayor, we would welcome the opportunity to kind of give a more detailed presentation as we get into the numbers and get into the detail on some of the engineering and what our plans are going to be. And we would welcome the opportunity to present that at a future opportunity.
Do you have kind of a timeline on that?
Well, right now we're starting to price tax credit equity. We're looking at conventional debt. We're starting to price the project out. So I think we're getting there within the next 30 to 45 days. Our goal would be to make an application to the state of New Mexico within the next 60 days. We would anticipate approval by, sometime in June, thereabouts. And if we get approval in June, I think we could close, third, fourth quarter this year. Okay. And begin construction almost immediately thereafter.
All right. The requirements from the city along this projected timeline. What do you need from us?
Well, at this stage, I'm not sure exactly what the ask might be. So.
Okay. Well, that's good because I have no idea what our answer would be.
Yeah, but, you know, I think we'll come in and make a very comprehensive presentation. I think right now we have our architect looking at plans, looking at the way we lay it out. It's an interesting site because it wraps that water retention area.
Right.
So there's some challenges on the design side, but also I think they could be done well aesthetically as well, utilizing that as a feature. So, you know, we're working on those items now. But, you know, this is kind of what we do as a business, obviously. We, you know, getting to the starting line is always the hardest part. You can see this taken us, you know, a couple of years to do that. But I think now we can accelerate the process, assuming we get the buy-in with the city.
We're going to be relying on Mr. Relkin to guide us through this. Fortunately, he commends your company, so that's good. You know, he has experience and whatever, so I guess we're gonna be kind of just listening to his advice and until you are prepared to do the presentation, and then I'm sure we'll have lots of questions at that point.
Sure. Yeah, and my partner Richard Ashton was supposed to be here. Unfortunately, we had a bank meeting that came up that he had to cancel last minute, so I was thrown into this. Alvaro's supporting me here.
Doing a fine job,
yeah.
sir. Absolutely. He hasn't fallen down or anything, so.
No, this would be a wonderful asset to the community, and frankly, our motivation's in the right place. You know, we're here to help working women. We're here to help working families in this community. It'll be a wonderful asset. We'll do a great job in building a product that the city could be proud of. And, you know, I would encourage you all to, you know, reach out to Rio Doso, maybe go visit the project that we have under construction. If you want to do that, I'd be happy to get you on site. You can speak with our supervisor on site, and maybe the city manager and the mayor as well. Yeah.
Questions?
Would you like?
You're not, I'm gonna, fix that. Evelyn, would you like to say anything? You don't have to, we're just kinda.
Just to reiterate, I did meet with Mr. Relkin a few weeks ago in Santa Fe and had good things to say about the project. We have done our due diligence, we have researched their past projects, and they do have an amazing track record. And so that's one of the reasons we have entertained, or we've met with other companies as well, but we feel this one's a good fit for Lovington. The EDC, the Housing Committee, has reviewed the proposal and is in full support of this project. So anything from, we are more than happy to help in any way when it comes down to incentives, you know, the incentive programs that we have available.
Thank you.
All right, thanks. Appreciate it. Thank you, gentlemen.
Well, thank you.
All right. Mr. Fierro, you are up.
Mr. Mayor and Commissioners, the last meeting I was unable to attend because of the weather. I was out of town, couldn't get back into Lovington. In your last meeting packet, I presented the summary of changes in cash balances. I don't know if you still have that with you. The cash balance within the general fund is 15 million. At the end of December was 15,173,000, and the allocation of the cash within the local financial institutions has not changed as of this date. We're working on that. W-2s have been filed and distributed. The W-2s have been filed with the Social Security Administration. The 1099s have been filed and distributed. The DFA report for the quarter ended December 31st was filed on time and approved by the New Mexico Department of Finance and Administration. They actually approved, the report was due on January 31st, and it was submitted about 10 days before that deadline, and it was approved on February 4th. The water collections and billing department is finally fully staffed. We have everyone that we want to employ there. The audit for, as you can see on your agenda, the audit for fiscal year 24 is going to be presented to the commission here shortly. And work has begun on the fiscal year 2025 audit. So, and I'll stand for any questions you may have.
Questions?
Why didn't we get the audit ahead of time to look at it?
I believe the city manager had emailed that.
I can't see it. Okay. I just want paper.
Like, when did it come in? 2-3 weeks ago, right?
Yeah.
I think
Okay.
it's in there. I don't
I just
think
know,
anybody finished it.
I just thought I'd get a paper. It's fine.
Any further questions?
He's
All right.
getting a little look here.
All right, thank you. Appreciate it.
It's scribble in it.
Sorry about that.
It's okay. I just always thought we'd just get handed one.
Not a hard copy, you know.
The hard copies we haven't received the hard copies yet. The city has not. I don't know what holdup is, but we have not received the hard
Usually
copies.
have one before we sign it, so we can scribble in it and go through it. No, it's
I
okay.
printed out a copy if you want to see it.
Before we enter into the next item, basically, you have someone that wants to call in for this particular?
For the Albertsons?
Yes.
Yes, it's their corporate lawyer. I'll call him.
Okay.
Put him on speakerphone. He alerted us to that little typo we had in the.
Right.
So-
Okay, and I've spoken to council, so there's gonna be, he's gonna be directing a little bit along through this. Anyway, I just wanted to give you time to go ahead and,
Yes, sir.
get him on. You wanna take one real quick before we hear? Okay, well, I think Commissioner Rodriguez didn't ask either. Okay, we will be entering into a public hearing. If
Mr. Rhodes?
any,
This is David Miranda. I'm gonna put you on speakerphone. You're in the city commission meeting. Is that okay?
if anyone in attendance would like to be heard during this hearing, you are required to come up and, you'll have to basically stand up so that we can recognize you. This is kind of a formality, but again, it is a public hearing, and if you have something to say, normally I would have you sign in, but again, we're kind of learning how to work through all of this.
So, Mr. Mayor, Commissioners, I have Mr. Mark Rhodes on the phone. He's the corporate attorney representing Albertsons.
Okay. And then he on speakerphone so that he
Yes, sir.
has the ability to or to ask or whatever.
Mr. Rhodes, can you hear us?
I can hear you.
Okay, and we can hear him. Okay, that sounds good. All right, Shannon, are you prepared? Are you ready?
Yes, sir.
Okay, then we will be entering into this public hearing to approve, a discussion to approve Albertsons Market number 656, a dispenser license. And I realize that the term dispenser license is what we're gonna be talking about as far as either it is correct or not. And so there may be a little bit of conversation about that, but if anyone wants to be recognized, then I need you to come to the podium. If you don't, totally understand. And then Mr. Rhodes, I know we got your information do I need to do anything with him, Patrick, as far as,
Not just yet, I think if Shannon just officially opens
okay?
the hearing portion of the meeting, then we can get into discussion. If you want, I'll address that issue just quickly.
Okay, I didn't know if we needed to recognize him as, other than what we've done already.
Yeah, I think he's showing up as corporate counsel,
Okay,
if I'm not mistaken, so I think we're good.
all right.
We did receive a request from Albertson Supermarket for the transfer of a liquor license of number 65 RET 000065, and this is for, this actually said, the application did say dispenser. I understand it's called a retailer license, and I think Mr. Rhodes could explain the difference to that. I have both versions. I have a resolution for both versions for however y'all want to approve it. It has been advertised twice during the past 30 days in the newspaper and the website as is required. And if there is any comment from the public, they can feel free to come up and give their name and make comment. And Mr. Rhodes is here to answer your questions.
All right. I would like to note that from our alcohol and gaming, or I guess it's the regulations and licensing division, the alcohol and gaming division, that was the word I was looking for, of that, and Ms. Shannon actually went off what they sent. So I don't know, that's what we're gonna talk about, is whether, how we are going to move forward as in calling it a distributor or a retailer license, but they even listed all of the Albertsons licensed in New Mexico and called them, or in one of the, called him dispenser. So anyway, I understood the confusion that she encumbered on this, and so in discussion with our city attorney, we're just going to move forward with the way it's written, and then we will work through the appropriate terminology before we get into the action item. So since no one else has come forward, Mr. Rhodes, do you have anything you would like to comment on at this time?
Yes, I do, actually.
Okay.
If I can clarify some things, I'm actually a liquor license lawyer. I'm not counsel, in-house counsel for Albertsons or United Supermarkets.
Oh, okay.
I'm the one that pretty much the majors and many family businesses hire to do liquor license work throughout the state.
Okay.
I've been doing it for 30 plus years. And if I can give a brief explanation of the difference between a dispenser and a retailer, it becomes much clearer. In 1981, when the Liquor Control Act was adopted, there were, at that time, I believe, 71 grocery stores and liquor stores. Those specific businesses were granted retailer licenses. As we have fast forwarded for a variety of reasons, they had become the scarcest type of license and also the most expensive license. In the case at hand, Albertson owns a number of those licenses. They're the only liquor licenses in the state that can be transferred from one area to another part of New Mexico and retain their package or off-premises sale privileges. And that is exactly why Albertson's elected to, well, actually they're selling the license to a wholly owned subsidiary, which is United Supermarkets, and transferring it to Lovington from Rio Rancho without losing the package privilege. I'm not sure what happened, because in this entire application process, I don't get a copy of the letter approving, giving concerned about whether alcohol beverage control labeled it as a dispenser license when they granted preliminary approval, because my application from day one and every element going forward, advertising everything has been done as if it's a retailer license. From a practical standpoint, both a retailer and a dispenser license that has not been transferred out of its original local option district can sell package. I don't know if Lovington encounters a lot of bars and restaurants with full dispenser license, but those licenses lose their package privileges if they're transferred outside of their original local option. So in 1981, every license in the state that was a dispenser was one license per 2,000 inhabitants. So if you were issued a dispenser license, then you could sell by the drink as well as package. If you transferred it, let's say it was issued to Lovington, and transferred anywhere outside of Lovington, it lost its package. So retailer licenses have a lot of flexibility and a lot of value. And in the case at hand, it really doesn't mean much other than the fact of how you label it. The reason I wrote an email earlier this afternoon is I saw the agenda that Ms. Lester was kind enough to send me, and I thought, well, this really, it's sort of form over substance, but it really isn't a dispenser license. It is retailer. That's all I called attention. And as far as I'm concerned, if the council is so inclined, if they approve the application for transfer, that really is the substance. They're not necessarily approving a retailer license or a dispenser for that matter. They're approving the application. I don't want to sort of continue if you already understand all this and you don't want to hear it, but I can explain this stuff because I've been doing it so long. And the department calls on me to give seminars, and I've had various local option districts, and not yours, but various members of council over the years ask me to explain things because I'm not only a lawyer, I'm a lobbyist, and I give seminars on liquor.
Well, we appreciate your input. Not everyone has, the alcohol background that you do. I unfortunately, I don't know which way it is, have about the same number of years, and I understood everything you said. And when I read the agenda, I agreed. I was like, they're not getting a dispenser license, because I owned two of the original municipal, one in Lovington and one in Hobbs, that had both, and understand the difference. But as long as we're all understanding that we're not really picking a license, we're just approving the application, I'm going to turn it over to our city council. If he has any statements, then I'll let him address the commission, and then I think seeing with all of the input we have that we'll be able to move forward on this.
So I think Mr. Rose, gave a very good explanation. I think what's important here is despite the regulation and licensing department identifying it as dispenser's license versus retailer, the number that they reference to the license is consistent and is the same. I just want to make sure that the notice went out and the public had an opportunity to fully understand what type of license we were dealing with. I think under the circumstances, I think we move forward with the hearing, conclude the hearing, and then move on to action items. The only question I would have, and I think Shannon said that she has two resolutions, one that identifies this as a retail license and one that identifies it as a dispenser license. I don't think it makes much difference to the city which one they go ahead and sign, but I might defer to Mr. Rhodes to see which one his client would prefer.
I think that's very interesting because this is unfortunately not the first time I've dealt with this. And the problem lies in the fact that the hearing officers have a lot of files to look at, and they will basically grant preliminary approval and send it to whatever local option option district the license is located in or will be located in. They're not focused on the type of license as much as they are the fact that it's approving the application. So if I had a preference, and if everyone's willing, the license number is the retailer license. The reason that you see RET is that means retailer, and then it's 00065. If you had a full dispenser license, normally those are in the thousands, 1,400, 2,500, and that's because of the number of dispenser licenses in the state. You're not going to get a license, a dispenser license that is that low, less than 100. It happens if you have an original one that was 40 plus years old, but it's very, very rare. So the specific answer to your specific question is I'd prefer a resolution that approved the retailer. If anyone is uncomfortable with that, I'm equally comfortable with having the application be approved for the subject license.
I think identifying it as a retail is fine. I think under the circumstances, with that explanation, the fact we have a number that attaches to it, that distinguishes it from every other license that's out there based on that, kind of like a social security number, I think we're fine.
Right, exactly. And by the way, before if I finish and you sort of hang up on me, I want to thank your staff from the zoning department who granted me a letter of the proper zoning immediately, to Ms. Lester, and I just met Mr. Miranda today, but everyone has been professional and helpful.
Thank you, we appreciate that. We are eager to get this process finished, finalized in the next month, so I think everyone's support is on this project.
Well, that's good, because they're very eager to get it open.
I know they are.
I'm sure, I mean, it's my fault if it's happened a lot. They asked me early on, should we contact the people in Lovington? And I said, I may live to regret this, but yes, because it's very important that Albertsons does test runs. And in order to do a test run and train their people properly, they have to have a license. They can't order liquor without the license in place.
Very true.
So they've been pushing me constantly, so I finally just came in and said, if you have people within the city of Lovington who you have a good relationship and you want to talk to them, that's up to you. But so, if they overwhelmed you, I apologize. If they underwhelmed you, well, I'm glad.
Okay. I don't know of any further input that we're going to have. My question is this, and I apologize, in reading through all this, I guess in hearing this, are we approving the actual license tonight or the application? That's where I...
That's a very good question, by the way. Again, I'm going to divert a little bit and explain the process. The way it's structured, without going through the whole Liquor Control Act, is that buyer and seller enter an agreement. They file an application with alcohol. ABC is what I was called. ABC sets up a preliminary hearing to review the application, making sure there's no convicted felons, the zoning is correct, that they being the people who want the license transferred to them, have complied with the statute. Then once you get preliminary hearing, the second hearing is designed so that the area where the license will be located is allowed to have input from the community there. So the specific answer to your specific question, you would be granting local option district approval to the application. Ms. Lester then sends notice of that approval back to Alcohol and Gaming. Alcohol and Gaming then has what they call a final review, and then they grant the license. They issue the license in the name of United Supermarkets.
Okay.
For use at Albertsons.
All right. When we get to that action item, we will attempt to get the terminology of that resolution cleaned up. That will be our goal, and then she can type it up and send it in.
Perfect. That would be great. And if Ms. Lester or anyone else wants any input, not that I'd write it or have the right to write it, but I'd be happy to say what other jurisdictions say.
Okay. All right. With that, having no further comment waiting, I will close this public hearing. You're welcome to stay on. The action item is the next item, and I have no problem. You can stay on, and we will actually have discussion. If you have anything at that time, I'm sorry, I'm talking to you, Mr. Rhodes. If you have anything, you're welcome to. I'll ask for discussion, and you can comment at that time.
Perfect. I'll stay on because at this point, there's absolutely no good reasons I wouldn't if you needed any answers to any questions.
Exactly. Okay. Sounds good to me. All right. With that, this hearing is closed. And this brings us to our action items, and the floor will entertain a motion on resolution 2026-013.
I'd like to make a motion for resolution 2026-013, approve liquor retailer license application for Albertson Supermarket number 656.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. Any public comment? Hearing none. Any staff comment? Hearing none. Ms. Shannon?
Commissioner Ramon,
Yes.
Commissioner Perry,
Yes.
Commissioner Rodriguez,
Yes.
Commissioner White,
Yes.
Mayor Roberts.
Yes. All right. Thank you, Mr. Rhodes. We appreciate your time this evening.
And thank you very much for your approval. And what I told Ms. Lester is true and has been that way for 30 years. If anyone within the city, including any of its citizens, residents, have any questions, the reason that I have become popular among the national companies is that I offer the ability to contact me directly. You don't have to wade through Albertson's corporate office and figure out who to talk to. So if there's some sort of issue, hopefully it's not something like there's more trash in the parking lot, but that's an issue I've dealt with. They can contact me and I will put them in touch with the right people.
That's good. We really appreciate your commitment to that. Back in the day, I'm assuming you took Miss Linda Aiken's kind of position with the state. I'm sure you worked along beside of her, as I did for many years.
Yeah, she was actually my arch, I wouldn't say enemy, but we were consistently on both sides of deals constantly because I represented a lot of major companies that her clients were buying or selling, and I'd be on the other side of the table for Linda for 30 plus years.
I understand. Well, thank you, sir, and we appreciate your commitment to or helping us through this particular area.
I appreciate it a lot. Thank you again for letting me participate by phone.
All right, thank you, sir. Have a good evening.
Okay. Good night, all.
All right, good. All right, brings us to the floor will entertain. I'm sorry. Brings us, goodness, the floor will entertain a motion on resolution 2026-014.
I'd like to make a motion for resolution 2026-014, approve acceptance and administration of capital outlay funds, New Mexico Aging and Long-Term Services Department, the renovations to Lovington Senior Center.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Ms. Bolt, thank you.
Good evening, Mayor, Commissioners. Leslie Bolt, Grants. So the capital outlay system, you're probably starting to know, and I know Liz knows a lot about this, is that there's different capital outlays besides just what the city can apply for. There's New Mexico Main Street that has a capital outlay budget, and then you can apply through them as a pass-through entity. Same thing with the senior and long-term care. So we have been applying for the last 2 years for the capital outlay for the senior center, and we received notice that we were awarded. We have a multi-phase ICIP for the senior center. The first one is to make sure that the parking lot is handicap accessible, and also that it's updated. So on the west side of the center, they will have better access because a lot of the seniors park there and they have to go into the street and back out. So that's what the money's going to be used for. And then we still have a very potential for another grant for them. So we'll work on the inside that if we get that. Any questions?
Question, Commissioner? No. I hear none, thank you. Any further discussion? Public comment? Staff comment? Hearing none, Ms. Shannon?
Commissioner Perry,
Yes.
Mayor Roberts,
Yes.
Commissioner White,
Yes.
Commissioner Rodriguez,
Yes.
Commissioner Ramon.
Yes.
Okay. Floor will be entertaining a motion on resolution 2026-015.
I'd like to make a motion for resolution 2026-015, authorize acceptance of year 4 DPS dispersed law enforcement retention fund monies.
Second.
Okay, a motion and a second on this resolution. Who's speaking? Oh, again? Okay. All right. You can stay up here, it's okay.
Ed, Brent, this is a, each year for this fund is a separate year. So we are asking for approval to accept funds and the administration of this grant for year 4.
Okay. Questions? Discussion? Oh, Chief, I'm sorry. Yes.
What this is it's a retention fund through DPS.
Right.
So this year we have 3 officers.
You have 2.
2? I think it's Jackson and Deputy Chief Leva for their tenure of staying at the police department for such a long time. So it's an automatic. If you're here after a certain period of time, they look at the ACADIS registry through the academy, and they call us and make sure that they're still with the department. And after we have to do the monthly reports, but once they're here and their anniversary date comes up, they will be given a check during that time, depending on how many years they're with the department.
So we'll be monitoring the grant through the last police department anniversary date, and we'll send monthly reports on that grant until we finally have that last payment to the last officer on that anniversary date.
Sounds good, thank you. All right, any further discussion? All right, public comment? Staff comment? Hearing none, Shannon?
Commissioner Ramon,
Counselor, would this be a good time for me to abstain from voting on this?
I would think so, yes.
Okay, I abstain from voting.
Commissioner Perry,
Yes.
Commissioner White,
Yes.
Commissioner Rodriguez,
Yes.
Mayor Roberts.
Yes. All right, for entertaining a motion on resolution 2026-016.
I'd like to make a motion for resolution 2026-016, accept fiscal year 2024 audit report and financial statements.
Okay.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Mr. Fierro.
Commissioners, I believe we're gonna bring the auditor. I see him back there on the screen. So let's see
okay.
if we can bring him aboard.
Make sure we can hear him and he can hear us. There he is.
There he is.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Very well, thank you.
Perfect. I'm going to share my presentation here real quick.
Okay.
Can you all see that?
Yes, we can now.
Okay, perfect. What I have here is the highlights from the exit conference we did, and I'm pretty sure we did it back in November, when we submitted the audit report to the state auditor. And so again, this is highlights from that exit conference. And what we went over at the exit conference is auditing standards require that we as auditors make certain communication to those that are charged with governance. And so this is just going to go over some of the highlights from that exit conference. If anybody has questions, please just interrupt me as I'm going through it. But this very first slide, in New Mexico, we are not only responsible for following auditing standards, which is the top two boxes, but we're also responsible for every audit to follow government auditing standards, which is the bottom two boxes. And government auditing standards are commonly referred to as Yellow Book standards, and so that's probably how I'll refer to them in the presentation. So we have auditing standards, the top two boxes. What we're hired to do is express an opinion, as you can see in that top left box, on your financial statements to determine whether or not they are presented in what we call they're materially correct in conformity with the standards that we have to follow. We call that GAAP, or Generally Accepted Accounting Principles. So our opinion states whether or not your financial statements are fairly presented in accordance with GAAP. And what that means is, if you look at the top right, we get what's called reasonable assurance, because there's absolutely no way we could look at every transaction. So we pick internal controls. We look at we pick statistical samples, but we're definitely not looking at everything. So there could be errors in the numbers in the report, but those errors would not be big enough to change the opinion of the readers of the financial statements. And so, example I always give, if you were to take your audit and give it to a banker to get a loan, those errors would not be big enough to change the banker's opinion on the financial status of the city. And so that's what our responsibilities under the audit are. And a lot of people think when auditors come in, we're just looking for fraud. Fraud is a component of what we do, but it is not the main reason. The main reason for the audit is to give an opinion on your financial statements. On those top two boxes, when it comes to internal controls, technically, to meet those standards, we just have to take one transaction from each significant cycle. And a significant cycle is something like the cash disbursement cycle, or cash receipts, payroll. So technically, we just have to take one transaction from each significant cycle, test it, and we've met auditing standards. Well, the state auditor wants more than that. And so that's why they incorporate in the audit rule that all audits have to follow that Yellow Book standards. And as you can see on the bottom left, when we're doing a Yellow Book audit, we're actually testing internal controls. But we're not picking samples big enough to give an opinion on internal controls. But what we do in that report is just spell out how we're testing those internal controls above what regular auditing standards require. And then we have to, in the bottom right, communicate significant matters. Well, the state audit rule actually changes this up a little bit. So there's 21 potential items that we have to test. And to be honest, most of those really relate to New Mexico state law. And so things like travel and per diem, they want us picking samples of, the use of credit cards, the procurement. Are you following state procurement or the city's policy for procurement? So they expand the type of testing that they want us to test internal controls of, not only those significant cycles, but again, additional items that they want us looking at. And then to the bottom right, that threshold that they give in the Yellow Book standards, that significant matters, really goes down to the ground level. And basically, any exception we have in the state of New Mexico, they want us to report as a finding in the audit. The whole reason is for transparency, so that even though it doesn't meet the Yellow Book standards, The state audit rule wants boards to know what's going on so that you can kind of monitor and determine, when the next audit comes up, are things getting dealt with? How is management dealing with the findings? And so it's really for transparency. So again, in New Mexico, every audit has to follow those bottom two slides. This next slide is talking about the results of the audit. So during the audit process, we had some problems when it came to capital assets and coming up with a detailed listing. So we issued what we call a modified opinion. In our opinion, we state that everything is fairly presented in accordance with the standards, except for the capital assets. And I know Ed and I have conversed about this. Ed is already in the process of trying to get this resolved. I know that the city did hire an outside consultant to come do counts, but it's typical when they do those outside counts that they don't add to that the cost, which is really critical for our purposes. So Ed is in the process of getting this dealt with. I really anticipate that this particular problem should be resolved when we do the audit for 2025. The next report, or this next one, is our report over that yellow book that I mentioned earlier, and we do have some findings that we'll talk about at the very end of the report. This next slide is talking about audit adjustments, and we had a few audit adjustments as we were performing the audit. We had to roll forward your fund balances. We had year-end adjustments that had to be made, both at the modified accrual and then also at the government-wide. So in New Mexico, the city is required to report to DFA. I know Ed mentioned earlier that you all had, your first quarter, your last quarter from 2025 has already been submitted and accepted. Well, when you do those reports, you are reporting on what we call cash basis accounting. Cash basis accounting is not GAAP that I talked about earlier. It is not a part of the generally accepted accounting principles that we can follow. And so what happens is, with those modified accrual and the government-wide adjustments, what happens is we had to go through and adjust those balances to reflect what those standards require, because you are maintaining your books throughout the year on a cash basis to monitor your budget and report to DFA. And so those adjustments, those modified accrual and government-wides, are ones we will have every year. But as far as the roll forward of fund balances, those are ones that should have been done prior to us getting the trial balance. And I know Ed and I he was in Albuquerque last week. He and I visited about some of the adjustments and some of the, getting ready for this year's audit. And, so we visited about that, and I think that those will be things that should be addressed and cleaned up next year. The next required communication I want to go over is disagreements with management. We didn't have any disagreements with management. As we went through the audit process, nothing came up that would cause us to have any disagreements. The last required communication is just going over the findings. We did have 12 findings this year. That first one with testing of expenditures, so cash disbursements, we did have quite a few exceptions. We had items like where the purchase order was dated after the invoice date. The whole purpose for getting a purchase order and getting that approved is to ensure that before the transaction is entered into, that it's been properly approved, and that didn't happen in 11 cases. We had situations where payments were issued more than 30 days after the due date. There was actually 5 instances of that. We had one instance where the city was unable to locate the supporting documentation, so we did not see any supporting purchase orders or invoices. We had one gas card transaction where there was not a purchase order completed for it. We had one credit card transaction where the receipts were not available to support the transaction. And then we had one credit card transaction where the purchase order was not properly approved, and so therefore the payment wasn't properly authorized. We had one additional credit card transaction where the card was used to purchase fuel when the city has fuel cards, and so the credit card was just used for an inappropriate transaction. And then the last one here is we had one credit card transaction where the purpose requisition was not reviewed and approved by the CPO in accordance with the city policies. And so we did have, during our testing of cash disbursements, we did have quite a few exceptions. The next one is internal controls over payroll. For 7 out of 25 employees that we tested, the hours per the employee's pay stubs did not agree to the hours per the timesheets. And so people were paid an incorrect amount based upon the timesheets. And again, that was 7 out of the 25 transactions that we tested. The next one is bank reconciliations. So in the prior year, this actually had been a finding for a few years. At the point in time when we came out and did our audit testing, the monthly bank reconciliations, there was no proof that they were being performed timely. Really, with the way that the city is responsible for, reporting to DFA, monitoring your budget, it's really critical. This is the most important step, is to ensure that the bank reconciliations are being done timely and accurately so that when financial numbers are given to the board, they can make proper decisions. And so, again, there was no evidence that they were being done in a timely manner. Cash receipts is the next finding. We had 9 cash receipts where the reconciliation was missing the secondary review. And so that is the city's policy, is that somebody else looks at those cash reconciliations, and that was not done. And then for 19 cash receipts that we tested, these were utilities. The rates that were provided by the city did not agree to the rates on the billing statements. And so the incorrect amounts, or the incorrect rates were, there was not supporting documentation that they were properly being billed correctly. The next one is journal entries. There was 2 out of our 10 transactions that we tested for journal entries where the city was unable to provide the supporting documentation so that we could ensure that it was properly reviewed and approved by somebody independent of those transactions. And so that was 2 out of 10 where we had that exception. The next one is Chief Procurement Officer. It is state law that you have a CPO and that the CPO registers with the state of New Mexico's General Service Department. That is state law, and this wasn't done. The next one is travel and per diem. We did have 2 transactions where the city was able to provide the support for those travel amounts, and also, did not have any approval documentation. We had 1 transaction where the receipt provided was $12 different than what was reimbursed. It was actually $12 less than the reimbursement. And then we had 1 transaction that we tested where the per diem, the reimbursement amount was $69 per day, but that's how much they were actually reimbursed, but the approved amount was $59, so we over reimbursed somebody for their travel. The next finding is a state law. When we test cities and municipalities, you are typically held at the fund. So there was 5 funds that were over budget during 2024. Excuse me, and again, that's a violation of state law, and so we had, again, 5 funds that were over budget. DFA quarterly reports. We had, when we went through and tested, this is actually a follow-up from the prior year. There were some quarterly reports that were not submitted within the 30 days of quarter end. As Ed mentioned during his presentation earlier, your most recent quarter is up to date. So honestly, unless something happens the last 2 quarters during the year, this finding actually will more than likely be resolved for next year. The next one is debt payments. During our testing of long-term debt, we noted that that the city had gotten caught up on some past due payments, but they were not being recorded in your general ledger correctly. So the payments were posted to the wrong accounts. We did have to come in and correct those entries that were made. The next finding is payroll account. During our testing of the cash accounts, we noted that the city's payroll clearing account did not reconcile to a zero balance. Really, that payroll clearing account should zero out, and management and accounting staff should be able to go in and determine what those reconciling items are and get that reconciled. It caused the account to be at a deficit balance of about $1,900. And last is late audit. The audit was not submitted by the June 30th deadline, and so based on state audit rule, since it wasn't done and wasn't submitted by the due date, we do have to include that as a finding based upon the state auditor's guidance. I think with that, I'll open up to any questions that anybody might have.
Questions, commissioners? No. And just so everyone in attendance or listening knows, we're talking about fiscal year 2024. So Mr. Fierro is standing here, and he is attempting diligently to rectify items from that era plus 2020, the fiscal year 2025, or 6, I'm sorry, I'm saying that incorrectly. It was fiscal year 2025 to now 20. Anyway, I get confused over when we end it and when we call it. But anyway, it's not his fault. He's helping us get better. So, and we commend him for that. So I don't want you to be throwing stones or whatever at him yet.
That's okay. I can handle it. Well, I'd just like to thank the auditors for the work that they've done, and we look forward to working with the auditors for next year. Okay, so we got to get 6/30/25 done.
Yes.
And that's where the emphasis is right now within the finance department. I've asked, I'm starting to give various assignments to the finance department, and I've asked them if need be, they can come in on Saturdays to try to get that caught up. We're trying to get this done as quickly as possible. One of the main areas, the first area that we need to concentrate on is the, as Mr. Gardner has said, there's a modified opinion. We're also referred to in the past as a qualified opinion on the capital assets. The capital assets. So what the auditor is saying is, overall, the financial statements are okay, they present fairly, except we're not sure about the capital assets. And so when I assisted the city on fiscal year 23, the capital assets were okay. And then 24 got away from the city. So I'm gonna have to go back, look at 24 again, and see what they added and maybe what they missed, and then bring those records forward, and then work on 25. So that's gonna be a point of emphasis. So what the council is going to do now is, the commission is, there's a resolution that needs to be signed that you're accepting the audit report. That doesn't mean that you agree 100% with the audit report.
Or like it.
Or that you like it.
Yeah,
or that you like it, or that your staff is doing a fantastic job, or they're horrible. Doesn't mean any of those things. All it means is that it was presented to you. And the reason for this is that the state found out, I believe it was in Santa Fe, the city of Santa Fe was having some serious financial difficulties. And it came out in the paper where one of the council individuals said, well, we never knew about it, we never see the audits. So the state's auditor said, well, we'll take care of that. So they made the auditors go present the audit report. And then DFA, to make sure that the auditors were, and the municipalities and the counties were doing this, they require a resolution be sent. that it's been presented and that you've had the opportunity to read the report. Here about a week ago or so, DFA sent a letter, and I don't know if the city manager sent you a copy of the letter. I know that my response to their letter has been sent to the commission. And it basically addresses all the audit findings as best we can. At this point, out of the 12, 5 have been resolved. 5 of the 5 findings have been. Now, 25, just to give you a little advance notice, they may be very similar. Some of the audit findings are very similar because we haven't had a chance to work on them. But the idea is hopefully to resolve those as quickly as we can. So, I don't know if you have any questions.
Questions, commissioners?
If you would like, most of the time between 8 and 6, I'm here in the office, and so if you have any questions, you can ask me or sit down with myself and the city manager, and we can go over it. But I know that we have a long agenda, we don't want to take a lot of time.
Okay. All right. Well, we appreciate Mr. Gardner for being here to present. Ed, we appreciate you for getting us at least this far along in the process. And we're looking forward to getting 2025 behind us, and then you will have I know you're gonna be on top of 2026, so.
Right, before you know it. If anybody would like, in the public or news media or council, the audit report is on the state auditor's website.
Okay.
So you can just research it there. And I'm sure that Shannon can get you copies if anybody asks for any copies of the report too.
Okay. Thank you, sir. All right.
Thank you, Chris.
Thank you, appreciate it.
All right. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Any staff comment? Public comment? Moving forward, Ms. Shannon.
Commissioner Rodriguez,
Yes.
Commissioner Perry,
Yes.
Mayor Roberts.
Yes.
Commissioner Ramon,
Yes.
Commissioner White.
Yes.
2024 is behind us. Thank you. All right, this brings us to resolution, floor will entertain a motion on resolution 2026-017. Okay, before we move, you want me to have someone else give this or make this motion?
Well, if you like, but we also need to pick the board members.
Well, let's,
We've never done it right, we've always done it that way. And
I
the
totally agree.
ordinance says the mayor is to make this motion
okay, I can do that.
listing those members,
Okay,
and then we are to vote yes or no, and if we say no, then you have to throw some new ones out there.
okay.
So, if you wanna start doing
I
that.
can't make a motion, but I can read it. I can read it the way, and then it can be, a motion can be made from that. I agree, we've never done it right.
Yeah,
I
Cause the
totally
ordinance says the
agree.
mayor will give the options, or whatever.
Okay, all right, so, hey, it's new territory,
I know.
it's a new year.
Maybe the mayor pro tem can do it.
Oh, well, then she can do it. Okay. We have for appointment, 1 city commissioner and 3, I'm sorry?
One expressing interest, but it can be any of the 5.
I know, that's what I'm saying. The position of 1 city commissioner to be appointed and
Yeah.
3 members to be appointed. 2 of the existing, members have submitted applications to be reappointed. 1 did not. And we have a new person who has submitted an application to be appointed. So we have 1 city commissioner who has expressed an interest to be appointed to this board or reappointed, I don't know.
Just appointed.
Okay, I think this
I've
one's
had a
just,
break.
I thought you had a break, okay. So, then the floor will entertain a motion, for the approval of one city, a city commissioner to be named, and then 3 members to be named in their motion for the existing spots.
Okay,
All right.
so then I would say I make a motion
Uh-huh.
to
Appoint.
appoint Commissioner Liz White as the city commissioner position. Pat Rice reappointed. Alicia Bixby reappointed. And then is it from these?
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm on this page.
Robert Gassman.
Yeah,
Oh, am I too far?
you're in the, yeah, right here. Right here. Oh, no, Robert Gassman is the one that.
Okay, and Robert Gassman as the other position on the board.
Okay,
Second.
we have a motion and a second, so these are reappointments. Discussion, I'm sorry,
No,
okay,
okay.
all right.
This one was you, and you said read, but that's good.
Well, I guess, yeah, you're right.
He's
Appointed, okay. Maybe just make that appointed, Shannon, not reappointed, because there's been a gap in all of it, so,
And Gassman's in
you're right, okay, so.
Where are you saying that?
Okay, well, her motion was reappointed, let's just call it appointed.
Okay.
All right, so, just for clarification, I have a motion and a second for the appointment of, Commissioner White as a city commissioner, Pat Rice, Alicia Bixby, and Robert Gassman to be, appointed as the members. Any further discussion? Public comment? Staff comment? Ms. Shannon?
Mayor Roberts,
Yes.
Commissioner White,
Yeah, welcome.
Yeah, well, just upstate.
I'll abstain.
Commissioner Perry,
Yes.
Commissioner Rodriguez,
Yes.
Commissioner Ramon.
Yes.
All right. This brings the floor will entertain a motion on resolution 2026-018, appoint board member to the library board.
Sorry. I'll read it just so you just, So Susie Bogan's on? Okay, so,
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion for resolution 2026-018, appoint board member Susan Bogan to the library board.
Second.
Motion and second for the appointment of this board member. Discussion. All right. Public comment? Staff comment? Hearing none. Ms. Shannon?
Commissioner White,
Yes.
Commissioner Rodriguez,
Yes.
Mayor Roberts.
Yes.
Commissioner Perry,
Yes.
Commissioner Ramon.
Yes.
Okay. For entertain a motion for resolution 2026-019, appoint a, I'm sorry. We are going to appoint a city commissioner and members?
No,
No, just the mission, okay, to the Parks and Recreation Board. I'll need a motion
Give it
for.
to God.
To-
I'd like to make a motion for resolution 2026-09, appoint city commissioner Rodriguez to the Parks and Rec board.
He says, where did that training come from?
You gotta be quick, John. Second.
Oh, we have a motion and a second, all right. The train doesn't stop. Discussion. This is when you
Now
stand
you
up
have
and.
something else to do.
You had nothing better. to
You're
do.
I have nothing to say.
Say
Okay,
thank you.
well, we're saying thank you, so.
Not a thank you. Not a thank you.
All right, any further discussion? Public comment? Staff comment? All right, Ms. Shannon?
Commissioner Rodriguez,
Abstain.
You could say no. You could say that.
You can say no. You can be conceited and say yes.
I'm not
I'll be
saying
the
yes.
best ever.
I'm not saying yes.
Commissioner White,
Yes.
Commissioner Ramon,
Yes.
Commissioner Perry,
Yes.
Mayor Roberts.
Absolutely, yes. You gotta speak up quickly around here, I promise you. All right, before entertaining a motion on resolution 2026-020. Okay, so I'll stop there.
I'd like to make a motion for resolution 2026-020, approve purchase and installation of 2,000 water meters.
Second.
Okay, a motion and second. All right, Mr. Miranda, I know you have some input on this.
Mr. Mayor, City Commissioners, we've talked a lot about this, as you know. The city water system contains about 4,300 water meters, commercial, residential. Many of them are from 2008 and are starting to approach their end of life. And I'm going to introduce shortly Aaron Burke and Nicholas Ireland of ResourceWise, but just to say that I believe that this will represent, it's an investment in our infrastructure, sorely needed. We don't have to take a loan out. You know, we're blessed with the position that we can afford this out of the general fund. And I've talked about it with Ed Fiero, and we believe it's an investment for the next 20 to 30 years, which will reap immediate benefits in terms of our billing. We've had 186 Camstruck meters in the ground for over a year, and I'll just defer to Mr. Ireland and Mr. Burke, and they can kind of take the commissioners through what our problems are and where this may help.
Thank you, Ms. Miranda. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Commission. As the city manager spoke, we've been assisting the city with the AMI, the Advanced Metering Infrastructure, existing city's meter read system for water. Just a little bit about us. My name's Aaron Burke. I'm one of the owners of ResourceWise. We're based out of Albuquerque. We're family owned and operated. We've been in business since 2002. This here is Nick Ireland. And
thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Commissioners. I apologize for my look. I got that Santa Fe bug that's going around the family, so I'm pretty under the
Keep it.
Yeah, I'm trying not to spend it. So but yeah, I'll do my best to answer the questions.
Yeah, so he assists with project management, also outside sales. Originally, we were hired by the city to assist with some issues with the existing AMI infrastructure. Some of the problems that we discovered were issues with multipliers, which I'm sure Mr. Miranda has already talked to some of you, not all of you, about. So upon discovery of that, we spent quite a bit of time going around correcting as many of these multiplier issues as we could. Majority of the case, it was costing the city money, not vice versa. However, we did find a few cases where it was a reverse. However, that was very limited. Upon investigating these meters, we started to get a better understanding as to the existing condition of the system. The system that the city currently has is approaching its end of life, and when these systems start to approach their end of life, the failure rate starts to rapidly increase. So first you'll see a dozen or so that'll quit working, then the following month you'll see 16, 17 that quit working, and it just slowly starts to compound. Eventually gets to the point where the city just can't keep up. More start to fail than what the city staff can keep up with as far as repairs go. This here on the screen is the dashboard for your existing AMI system.
Might be better looking, so because it looks like that was kind of cut off.
Oh yeah, yeah. So just to kind of give you a quick little overview, you can see active devices. Now that number is not completely accurate. There are some cam strip water meters, which I'll get to in just a minute, that are currently active. So that number is a little bit less, but as you can see, you have 44 orphan devices. What that means is those are water meters that are deployed throughout the city. Some of them have consumption on them, but they don't belong to anybody. So the city doesn't know where they're at. So that's water being used,
Nice.
that's not being recorded. You have inactive device usage. So basically those are just accounts where there's no consumption on the meter. Stale, those are gonna be your meters that have not read within the last 72 hours. You're almost stale, those are meters that have quit reading between that 24 and 72 hour period. 324 no read devices, those are basically all the devices that have not communicated with the network within over 72 hour period. So basically we can assume a lot of those in that 324 are no longer operable. What makes the meter inoperable? There's a lot of different scenarios that can cause it. These older census systems were very complex. They have a lot of parts to them. They have a separate antenna. They have a water meter. They have brackets that hold the antenna to the meter cam lid. There's a cable between the meter and the antenna. So you have to worry about the communication between the meter and the antenna, the communication from the antenna to the collector. And then you have all these components, plastic parts that are holding everything together. They're outside, so they're exposed to the elements. They get run over, smashed, vandalized, you name it. We've seen it all, wires cut, rodents chew on the wires, and the list goes on and on. The current condition of the system, one of the challenges that the city has faced is there was an issue with the distributor. They weren't able to supply the city with material. One of our customers, City of Jal, they actually had an old census AMI system. We actually just did a complete change out for them. And you guys were able to reach out to them, and the City of Jal donated some of the material that they had left over from their old system. From what I understand, you guys have pretty much burned through all that.
Correct.
So your next best step would be to start phasing out the old system. And that is what we're proposing today. Now, again, I'll kind of go back to resource-wise and why our company was founded, when my father founded the company. He started the business with a primary focus on water management. Back in 2002, we were starting to experience drought conditions, severe drought conditions, and not a lot of people had experience in that field. He did. That is what brought us into metering. We quickly learned that a lot of water loss is occurring through inaccurate meters. As they age, they slow down. As they slow down, you stop recording that water that's being used. In return, you're also going to lose revenue. So the best way to recapture a lot of that revenue is by replacing meters with more accurate ultrasonic water meters. This is where we came across cam strip water meters. This is a graph here just kind of showing a little bit about multi-jet, which is the existing mechanical meters that the city has. You currently have around 2,000 of these meters in your system. They're fairly old. This was a study done by Utah State University. And, as you can see, once they reach about 1.5 million gallons, their accuracy starts to drop off. We're able to pull a report to get a good idea as to where you're at as far as the age of the meters, as far as throughput. Throughput meaning the number of gallons that have traveled through the meters. And you can see you've got 1,249 meters where 1.5 million gallons of throughput has traveled through them. So they are rapidly on a decline. You've got another 742 meters where there's over 1 million gallons of throughput. So, you know, you're looking at about 50% of your meters have already hit the expected life of the meter. So by switching over to the new ultrasonic meters, you're going to see a significant increase in revenue, and also your water loss will start to go down, which is going to help. Go ahead. So a lot of people, you know, that aren't real familiar with the metering industry don't realize how much water is lost through low flow. So a disadvantage to the mechanical meters is their inability to measure low flows. So when we say mechanical, literally that's what they are, is mechanical. So they have mechanical components inside of the water meter, and as that water passes through the measuring chamber, the energy of the water will cause mechanical components to spin kind of like a clock. And as it spins, it turns gears, and in turn either turns an LCD display or an old dial type clock, and they read just like an old car odometer. Instead of miles, it reads in gallons. So over time, those gears wear out, the plastic components inside of those meters wear out, debris in the water, which we all have here in the Southwest, a lot of sand in our water. It's like sandpaper, so it just slowly deteriorates up in meters. This is a histogram from the ultrasonic meters that you currently have in your system. And you can see, if you take a existing mechanical meter, brand new, they're capable of recording flows down to 0.25 gallons per minute within American Water Works Association's standards. You take a Camstrup ultrasonic, they're capable of measuring flows down to 0.008 gallons per minute. So we're talking about 1,000ths of a gallon. So these histograms will show you how much flow was captured at specific flow rates. So these three examples here, you can see that first example in the top left-hand corner at 0.04 gallons per minute and 0.09 gallons per minute. That meter captured 2,573 gallons. So if you look at all three of those, that's only 3 meters. You have over 4,000 in your system. So you can do the math and you can start to see where that will add up. Also, another advantage to these meters is their life expectancy. So when the original AMI system was deployed, average life expectancy was about 10 years. You've hit about 11, year 11, year 12, so you're kind of a little bit past that average life expectancy. A lot of your large commercial meters have already started to quit working. Some of those have already been replaced with Camstrup water meters. So as you can see, there's a lot to be gained by replacing the meters. Also, due to the fact that it is a newer technology, they require much less maintenance. You only have one device per customer. Your old system, you have an antenna with a serial number, and you have a water meter with a serial number. So you have over 8,000 serial numbers in your system. That can get confusing, and that can cause a lot of billing errors. Part of water metering and us chasing after lost water isn't always actually going to look for water that is leaking. A lot of the time that has to do with billing errors, and a lot of it's caused by multiplier issues. This multiplier issues and serial numbers, and with this system it's a lot easier to use. There's a lot less room for mistakes. The system does most of the thinking for the utility staff.
So this is some data that I had worked with David on and pulled. So basically what we did was, and it's kind of hard to see here, what we went through and what I would do is on a monthly basis, David would ask me, okay, how much consumption from the cancer meters we have versus your current census meters, same time last year, right? Obviously, it's not gonna be apples to apples, because we just don't know how much people are consuming within that time frame. But it's gonna give you a relatively accurate assumption. Within those, there was a lot of meters that just weren't reading at all. Probably half of the ones we had, when we replaced them, they weren't anything, you got no data on them. So what I would do is I would actually strip out, I would do two things. I'd say this is what we were seeing with all the meters from CamStrip versus all the meters from Census, the same addresses. And then just the ones that actually were giving us reads, what were we seeing? I think there was 1 month where there was a difference in 500,000 gallons of consumption that we captured with the CamStrip water meters.
Over how many meters? Sample size?
It was less than 100. This was before you guys even got the 100. So, yeah, and I supplied all that information to David. I'm sure we could supply that to anyone who wanted it. And it's the same story month over month, that you could see that even without the low flow, just the fact that your meters are starting to fail, it's not even registering most of the time, that we're capturing like around 130% more consumption with the CamStrip water meters. And that was with the ones that were actually working, the census meters are working. So it's a situation where we came in and we just looked at everything. We said, yeah, it's pretty crucial. It's kind of a dire need that you guys are in right now to replace your meters, right? Not only for the revenue part, but just to know how much water you're using, right? And once those are put in, we'll usually see, unfortunately for the constituents here, you'll see an uptick, right, in the bills. But those will start to level off because people will actually see how much water they're using, which tapers off, but it causes you to produce less water, right? So you're actually having to pump less water. So over time, you're generating more revenue, basically.
Yeah, and, you know, with the increase in accuracy, people start to self-police themselves.
Yeah.
So, you know, naturally people will start to cut back on their usage, and also the system is going to provide the consumers with leak notifications. So if they have a leaking toilet, it's not going to take them a month or 2 months to figure out that there's something in their house that's leaking. If they sign up at the customer portal, they'll be able to get that notice immediately as soon as that meter detects that they have a leak. So there's a lot of added benefits to the system. You know, in addition to that, the city's gonna have access to automated messaging systems. So with the existing drought conditions, if you enact any drought restrictions, such as odd, even day water restrictions, you're able to notify the public of that via SMS text message, email, as well as robocall. The system is set up both in English and Spanish. Also, the consumers, they're able to set up their own alerts as far as usage alerts. So if, let's say during the summer months, they don't want to use more than 10,000 gallons of water, they can set an alert at 10,000 gallons. So as soon as they hit 10,000, they know they need to cut back on their water usage. So there's a lot of added benefits. It will also help as far as enforcing any type of drought restrictions that you do have in place by monitoring usage. It looks for patterns for sprinkler systems, that type of thing. So it makes it easier for your staff to identify people that are allegedly in violation.
One of the big advantages, and this is an advantage that the CamStrip water meter has that no other meter in the industry has, is we have built-in acoustic leak detection. And so what that means for the city is that as you deploy these around the city, they're actually listening for noise in the water column. So what they'll do is they'll listen for a noise between 2 meters, and it can detect if you have a leak on your service lines and your main lines. So instead of waiting for that big geyser to spout out of the ground, right, and then you have to send emergency crews out there to fix that, you can catch those before they happen. And that's a huge cost benefit, right? And that is, again, that's just something that CamStrip patented and developed, and it's highly effective. So we have quite a few areas in your region that actually use that. These are pretty effective.
And I would just add that this purchase would bring us to about half of our meters being one type of meter, one system. technology. We have boots on the ground. These gentlemen are either in the area or in Lovington a couple times a month. If we did want to stick with the old census meters, which no one is really crazy about, they don't really have representation on this side of the state. As they've said, we've had to cannibalize parts. JAL helped us out a lot. And then finally, I just wanted to get Ed Fierro's input in terms of the impact to the general fund that this purchase would make, and if he thinks it's feasible.
You know, within the audit, within the financial statements, you picture, there's two, you break it up into what's called governmental activities and then proprietary fund activities. Proprietary fund activities are to be treated like business type. The governmental activities, such as the police and the fire department, they can't generate enough revenues to support their activities. So gross receipts tax or some other mechanism is used to fund these operations. In the enterprise funds, in the proprietary funds, they're supposed to be treated like businesses. They generate revenue, they have expenses, they have capital purchases. And so I think that an area that municipalities and governments make a mistake is they think, well, we'll just keep our rates low because we don't want to offend the consumers or the citizens. And the fund is not generating enough money to sustain future operations. There should be within, if we look at the financial statements, the water and sewer fund only has 1.4 million. And the city manager is proposing spending $800,000. Well, if we take all that money from the water fund, then that's not gonna leave us a lot of money to operate with. So I guess what I'm trying to get to is in the general fund, there's $15 million because gross receipts have been up the last year or so, and you finally know where you're at. So you could probably, or you can make a transfer from the general fund to fund the utility, this large purchase. But that's only gonna get you halfway done in the city, in the municipality. So you're gonna have to do it again, probably next year, to get the other half done. So you're looking at 1.6 million or so. There's money to do it, but then there has to be an awareness that these funds, these proprietary funds, have to be self-generating and have enough profit in there to support future capital outlay. An example is the solid waste. The vendor that you're using keeps raising the rates, and we're not quite keeping up with it, so we're gonna have to, what we're charging the citizens, so we're gonna have to transfer some money from the general fund to cover that deficit. So it can be done, but there has to be an awareness of the commission and upper management. What can we do to increase the profitability within the utility funds, within the water and sewer fund? Ambulance does okay on its own, solid waste. So I guess my conclusion would be that the only place you can get the money from to do this is the general fund. There's sufficient money within the general fund, but obviously we're gonna have to make budget adjustments to cover this, because one of the things that the auditor mentioned is, you guys, there was 5 funds where you overspent the budget. So we have to get that. And DFA, I noticed they like, when they always talking about the budget, they're always concerning with cash balances bringing forward, you know, don't let those cash balances get too low, you know, so.
And just,
So that's where I told you, get me JAL numbers to show that their
They haven't
revenues
got-
have increased
they
so
haven't
much
got
that.
back to me, I did put that request in.
You guys have that though, right? Don't you have?
Unfortunately,
Yeah, we'd have to get it from them.
We'd have to request, which I know.
Because when they
that
came and
is-
present, when Van
because-
Camp came the first time, they were already starting to really show where they were generating, like it was paying for itself completely.
Van couldn't give that to me, he had to refer it to the finance department.
Yeah, and, you know, if I may, speaking with my consultant hat on, you know, for 10+ years before we became a vendor for CAMSTRUP water metering, all we offered was consulting services. So big part of what we did was help utilities basically heal themselves, right? So a lot of municipalities would come to us and ask us, you know, hey, we're losing all this water, you know, how much can you save? Well, step one was first we have to know how much you're actually using before we can tell you how much you can save, right?
Right.
If your water meters aren't accurate, then we're just, you know, we're chasing ghosts. We don't know. Also in the water conservation business, and you can look through AWWA literature, talk to a lot of independent consultants, they'll tell you that replacing your water meters is the first step in repairing the health of your system, because those are your cash registers. That is one of the few things a municipality can replace where they start seeing an immediate return. Because again, those are your cash registers. So, you know, a good comparison that I was told before I started selling water meters was, think about Walmart. Would Walmart install cash registers that recorded 6% slow? How much business sense does that make? So there's just a lot of advantages, and not only are we talking about increased revenue from the capture of the low flow, but we're talking about increased operational efficiency. So right now, when you look at that census list, you've got almost 400 meters. They're not reading. How much revenue are you losing from those meters that aren't reading?
And it takes a guy 20 minutes to a half hour to go out into the alley, find the meter, dig it up, get a manual read, possibly make a mistake on the decimal place or his handwriting is sloppy, so it's labor intensive.
That never happened.
And then I just wanted to clear up one last thing that I know the commission knows, but I was asked by a member of the press today that are rates going up to pay for this? And no, rates are not going up to pay for these new meters. That's why we just talked about it with Ed. I know you all know it, but I want to make sure we're not raising rates to pay for the new meters.
I would probably recommend to the commission that, for that, as I mentioned, the end of December, there's 1.4 million in the water fund. And the city manager, the cost is about 800,000, more or less.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so my recommendation is we get approval to transfer half of that from the general fund, 400,000, and use 400,000 that's already there. That would bring us back down to about $1 million in the water fund, instead of doing it all 800,000.
And that's, I also asked you for like a year and a half now, let's change all the commercial meters, because they will pay for this.
We've been doing that.
Yeah.
We've been 186, the
Yeah.
vast majority are commercial meters. Yes.
And I saw they ordered the effluent for the waste,
For the waste.
so that'll help too.
Yes, they're doing
Okay.
that as well.
Oh, we're beating,
We wanna go to
we're
bed.
beating this one pretty hard.
Well, it represents a lot of money, but
It does, and I wanna,
We
there's
have
a
to
couple
do
of points that I wanna bring up to the new commissioners, and that's about a year ago. I don't remember, I can't say it was exactly a year ago. We, even though he mentioned, we are approaching the end of life of our meters, unfortunately, we are not approaching the end of debt of our current water meters. I don't know the current balance. At one point that I remember, we still owed about 1.3 million. I'm sure Mr. Fierro has it. And we discussed as a commission to pay that off to basically eliminate long-term debt. We did not because at the time, we were making about 4 to 5% on the money, and that debt is at 1.2%. Was it 2%? Okay, I couldn't remember. 1.8 is what I was going to say. But anyway, we're like, well, that's silly to expend money when you're making. I mean, we're making money, paid for it to be sitting there. So we didn't spend the 1 point whatever it was at that time. Yeah, whatever it was. And so this, if we do this, this is basically doing the same thing. You can look at it, we're still paying off either the new meters or we're paying off what we were gonna pay off last year. So that's just one way of looking at it, but we have the money. Second, there's one thing I do want to bring up, and I know the answer, whatever, but they are a sole vendor, sole source vendor.
RFP, procurement.
Yeah, procurement, yeah. My question would be, have we definitely made sure that we're okay on procurement?
I could email in the state contract number, so we are on the general services state purchasing.
Oh, okay, then we're fine. And, yeah, we're well under our limit, so, okay.
And you
then-
also need to make known that the meters we have now, they're no longer making, we can't get parts for them.
Exactly.
There's
yeah.
no replacements. We've bought what we can from other cities to fix what we have, and then once that's gone, it's gone.
Now, what I am going to not just request, but as soon as we get this done, and we are going to expect to hear, progress. But let's start evaluating at that time, our consumption of the new meters versus what they were consuming, and then we kind of see an idea. We can put that in a cost analysis with Mr. Fierro, and we can see how we're paying ourselves back and at what rate. And that way, that will maybe help make the next decision, whether it's a year from now or 8 months from now or 18 months from now. Then we can make a good basic decision, because he's right. We can't account for ghost water that we have no idea do we use it, we don't use it, or whatever. So we've got to get something that we feel confident about. But anyway, let's put together some numbers as soon as possible and see what currently, and that'll give us a financial look at our next step.
And then just something to kind of put you at ease, we do have meters in Dexter. They've been there for 13 years and we haven't replaced a single meter. So where you run into these issues now at year 10 with your current system, it's very unlikely that you're gonna see a handful of meters. CAMSOP has one of the lowest warranty return rates in the industry. Nationwide, it was 0.25 last year. Our regional sales manager actually showed me the number that they had for this year, and I can't remember exactly what it was, but it fit on a whiteboard, and it was like one section of the whiteboard, and that's all CAMSOP had returned nationwide for warranty return. So
what is the life of the meters?
20 years. So yeah, 20 years. So yeah, it's 20 plus years accuracy and really, reliability. So we really stand behind it. I'm new to the company. I've been here for a year and a half, and I'm really proud that I work for a company like Resource Wise, and we sell a quality product that I can stand behind. I've been in sales for quite a while. I can't always say that, right? Sometimes you just sell what you sell, but I really am fortunate that this one, and I'm not just saying this, I believe this is the best meter on the market because I've seen it in other areas to where it works, and we just see the numbers. And we publish those numbers, they're not hidden. So when we say that our low flow is low flow, that's published. Our competitors usually don't do that. So.
Okay.
What is the warranty period?
20 years.
So
The same as the life of the meter?
Yeah, Correct,
So
so it's 20 years, it's prorated, so first 10 years, 100% replacement, second 10 years is prorated.
For the batteries.
Correct.
The accuracy is for the lifetime, because it's ultrasonic, so.
That's a good question. So for Mr. Miranda, you've selected 2,000 meters as the first purchase.
Yes, sir.
We've done these on the commercial.
But I see on this quote page, a reference to, an annual fee at the end of 1 year, and once all 2,400 meters are installed, there'll be a fee of $6,000, or $6,600 a year. What's that?
That's why I elucidate on that.
Correct, so, the way Camstrep charges for their hosting and support services, which includes our support services as well, is they charge a fee based on the number of metering points, so they have different tiers. So as you increase to the next tier, then there's a difference in costs. So for the city, your highest tier would be, I believe, 4,400 metering, 4,800 metering points. Correct. So that's just showing the difference in costs when you achieve that higher tier. So it's a way to save utilities money. A lot of the industry out there, they'll charge a flat rate. So whether you have 1,000 meters or 7,000 meters, you're paying the same annual fee. So with Camstrep, they do it based on tiers. So that support fee, that covers hosting of the data on their servers. It also includes updates to the software. So something that's unique about Camstrep is 5 years from now, they're not going to come back to you and say, oh, we need X number of dollars to upgrade you to the latest and greatest software. And if you don't upgrade, well, your system's not going to work.
So why are we, Mr. Miranda, why are we looking at purchasing 2,000 meters with this reference of 2,400 meters with the fee? I don't understand. Looks like we'd be better off to bite the bullet harder if we were gonna do this and get the 2,400 meters. Then we're over halfway. The next time this subject comes up in a year or 18 months or whatever it is.
So I would keep it, I would caution you to do that and keep it under the threshold, because say you have a meter that goes out and you need to replace it, as soon as you get to 2401, it kicks you up in that next tier.
You could probably get within 100.
Yeah, probably within 100 is what we would recommend.
So
that just gives you a little bit of growth room.
We're at a lower tier of the annual fee.
Until you reach that threshold. And then once you exceed the threshold, then that's when it jumps to the next tier.
So with the existing meters that are in the system, and plus the 2,000, that's gonna put you at around 2,200.
2186.
Yeah, so you.
So it's a savings point for the city.
Yeah, right,
to
and
go
it
with.
gives you a buffer.
Okay.
And you could think of the 6,000 as kind of like a licensing fee every year. How much did the collector cost in Avenue D Park? 40,000? Something like
The Camstrep collector, it was around 30.
30.
Yeah.
So we've already made the expense. All these meters are just like census, but all these meters are transmitting their data to a collector in Avenue D Park, which then transmits the data to the water billing offices. So it's very technologically heavy in terms of that, and we need the support staff to keep that going, because that's where we failed. One of the places we failed in the old system is we didn't get that technical expertise, backup support. It's very complex process. So.
Yeah, it's kind of a strange story. People laugh at me when I tell them, but we were providing support for our competitor. So when the city hired us, we were supporting their system. So the census systems are fairly complex and a lot of smaller municipalities, they just inherently can't afford the staff to maintain them, so they'll hire independent consultants such as us, so.
And I think a commissioner asked the question last time, because the radio's contained within the unit or just above it, it's not the black mushroom cap as we call it. Do we need to buy all new lids? And we don't. It's on an as-needed basis if it's not transmitting.
Correct. Right now, on all your meters, I think there's only 2 that I saw that weren't transmitting. And you're getting hourly reads on the rest of them, so it's pretty good. We just have to take a look and figure out why that is, but you're actually in a really good state. I think we just brought up the propagation study, because we were talking about the well meters, and they were like, oh, the well meters are reading. They put 3 meters out on some wells, and they're like, there's no way it's gonna read out there. They're reading those 3 meters they put out there.
South of town.
Yeah, so it's your area has great coverage for AMI systems.
Okay, I'm gonna move us along. I appreciate it.
No, thank you.
I'm gonna ask the commission, cause I really, Commissioner Ramon is miserable. And I'm either gonna tell her she can go on home, or we're gonna try to finish. Is there any questions, and I appreciate if there is, any questions that we need to ask these gentlemen before we move forward? Okay, I hear none. Again, we have a motion and a second to approve the purchase of the recommended quantity, which was right around 2,000. Any public comment? Any staff comment? Anything else before we move on to vote? Hearing none. Shannon?
Commissioner Perry,
Yes.
Commissioner Ramon,
Yes.
Mayor Roberts,
Yes.
Commissioner White,
Yes.
Commissioner Rodriguez.
Yes.
All right.
Thank you.
All right, thank y'all.
Thank you. We appreciate it, man.
All right. Sorry, gotta get my agenda back up. The motion, the floor will entertain a motion on resolution 2026-021.
I'd like to make a motion for resolution 2026-021, approve TPF capital grant for fiscal year 27.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Ms. Ball?
Yeah. So I'm getting ready to submit the application for a capital project through NMDOT for the TFP grant this year. That project will be 9th Street that we have a design for from Avenue D to Avenue K. The project is total cost is $2,583,440.10. The state share would be 95% of that. So our match of 5% would be $129,172.
All right.
Forgot to say bike lane.
So just so the other commissioners know, I always have to have the resolutions when I apply for these grants. It must have a resolution that the city is on board with paying that match.
Right.
What it is.
All right. Any questions? Any further discussion? All right, hearing none. Any public comment? Any staff comment? Hearing none. Ms. Shannon?
Mayor Roberts,
Yes.
Commissioner White,
Yes.
Commissioner Rodriguez,
Yes.
Commissioner Romano,
Yes.
Commissioner Perry.
Yes.
Okay, for entertaining motion on resolution 2026-023. Two, I'm sorry. 3 is the one we eliminated.
Yeah.
Sorry, I got them out of order.
I'd like to make a motion for resolution 2026-022, approve TPF rehabilitation grant for fiscal year 27.
Second.
Okay, a motion and a second. To approve this grant. All right, Ms. Ball?
Mayor and Commissioners, this is the NMDOT TPF Rehabilitation Program grant that I'm writing for. This is for, we have to keep this grant, it has to be under $2 million, so in order to meet that, we did 5 roads: East Jackson from Main to Eddy, East Harrison from Main to Love, North Sixth Street from Jefferson to Adams, West Avenue I from Second to Ninth Street, and East Avenue R from Main to Commercial. This is the third year I've written for this grant with these streets. We did take McAllister off of here because, of course, cost is going up, and so that put it over the amount, but me and Miranda are looking at a different way to get McAllister taken care of.
Or possibly First Street
Yeah,
between A and B.
one or the other. We're looking at it a couple of different ways, so, but,
Commissioner Ramon had asked me about repaving Avenue I earlier, so that would address that.
this is this. So we've been trying to get this grant, and like I said, this is my third year, and usually the third or fourth year is when you'll get a grant from NMDOT once you've submitted that many times. So we're hopeful to get it this year with the points we'll have. We find out if we get these grants usually in October or November. That's why it's a 27 grant, because then we'll spend it in the year of 27.
All right. Discussion, any questions?
I do have a question. How did we determine, or how did we figure out that these were the roads we wanted to fix?
So 2 years ago, we did get iWorks that rated our roads. But before that, it was a matter of streets department driving the roads and telling me which ones were in the worst shape and what we needed for. So that's why with iWorks now, when we start this new, after we get these roads taken care of, because if we change them, then I'm back to writing year number 1 grant. So it's really important just to stay on this path right now, and then in the next year, if we get this one, then we can go to those road ratings and use those to, I mean, every one of these roads is a rebuild, is what every one of them states. So just like 5th Street, we'll tear it out and BOMAG it and repave it. We don't mess with curb or gutter or sidewalk on these rehabilitation projects. Make sense?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Good question. Any further questions, discussion? All right, any public comment? Any staff comment? Shannon?
Commissioner White,
Yes.
Commissioner Ramon,
Yes.
Commissioner Perry,
Yes.
Mayor Roberts,
Yes.
Commissioner Rodriguez.
Yes.
Okay, before we entertain a motion to pay the bills.
I'd like to make a motion to approve accounts payable. Oh, that's
Second.
All right, motion and second. Take a moment if anyone has any questions. You have none? All right, I hear none. So, any staff comment, any public comment? I don't expect any. Ms. Shannon?
Commissioner Ramon,
Yes.
Commissioner Perry,
Yes.
Commissioner Rodriguez,
Yes.
Mayor Roberts,
Yes.
Commissioner White.
Yes.
With that, the items of the agenda are exhausted. We are adjourned. Don't run off. We've got to sign.
Gotta sign everything.
Last night,
No,
I get this text that said, just a heads up, and it popped up on my laptop, and I was like, what now? So then I got this here, and then I got this now.
I mean, I did do a slide that said,
And I'm
for
like,
agenda,
this is the
because I was
worst
like,
wall in the world. The long wall, we got your side, the beam wall. But then she just sent me this one.